She's an ampersand.
Gotcha.
All right.
We got Fire and Shade and Young and Muslim. Hey, we're going to take it over.
I know we were talking about whether...
You're recording?
Oh, she's recording.
Wait,
I like,
started?
I like how you just start recording and none of us knew.
I looked at you guys like,
I want to be fired.
If you were to Fire and Shade, who would you call Fire and who would you call Shade?
Well, it was 3, you guys.
No, but now, Fire and
No.
Shade. So who's Fire, who's Shade?
I mean,
That's a difficult one.
A lot of people have opinions, but
So this is like something that your audience is like.
we're trying to figure
I
out.
claim my title. I think yours is good too for you.
So
She's
we
Fire,
have. So,
she's Shade. I'm Shade.
that's what I was going. I was going to say
You're being
that.
polite. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, no
yeah.
problem. I'm good.
was like-
I'm good.
Cause you come.
Shade
For everybody.
Yeah, you come. Yeah.
People are just like, they hit me up all the time and they're just like, yep, tuning in so I could read you, hear you read somebody for filth today. And I'm like, all right, great. We're all on the same page.
but I feel like you always need that friend in the group that's going to hold everybody accountable.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I was
saying?
just talking to somebody about this like last night.
Be careful with that.
I am one of those people, if I sit here and I see you doing something that I'm just like, I do not agree with,
Yeah.
I have to say something.
Bro.
Like, I cannot keep quiet. And it bothers me. And then I'm going to start not liking you, you know? So it's just like, I can't sit here and be like, she's trying to, jump off a cliff.
Hey,
Let's
nah.
be okay with it.
It's crazy because I don't know. Have you guys seen the Netflix series Who Killed Malcolm X?
No, everybody's
Yes,
been talking
yeah,
about it. I
it's
want to watch
good.
it.
It's really
on
good.
point, guys.
You know what though? Everybody was talking about the Aaron Hernandez one, and I was just like,
I didn't see that one.
Don't really
it's
care.
good. It was good. It's just like, I hate how everybody like made it seem like it was about, are you okay? She's
I'm
like,
looking at her. She's telling me things to do.
Ignore her.
Thank you, cameraman.
Cam-
Camerawoman.
Camerawoman.
I'm so sorry.
Get it right. We're in
Get it
2020 now. We have to be respectful.
You know what?
Camera person.
Camera person.
yes.
Let's be politically correct. But no, the Aaron Hernandez one, it was like the whole thing with CTE, and then it's like, they were talking about his sexuality a lot, and I was just
Yeah.
like, why don't we just say that he had like a psychotic break? Like, let's leave the CTE out of it. Let's leave his sexuality out of it. He had a psychotic break. Like, I think it all had to do with his dad, but they were focused on so many other things that to me, they forgot about that bit of it, and they made it seem like, it's something we can look over. And I'm like, his dad dying, he looked up to him. That was the person that could keep him in check. Why doesn't this have a bigger piece of the storyline?
Yeah.
All you guys want to do is talk about how he could have been gay, or how many hits he got contributed to his like brain issues, and then may have like exacerbated his situation. I'm like, no, sounds like just somebody who lost it after their dad died and has a mom that wasn't really involved and like kind of used and abused him, kind of thing.
And then everything else kind of stemmed from that.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about his cousin too. You're like, his cousin was.
I didn't watch any of
Same.
it.
No,
No.
his cousin
They'll keep you up at
rode
night.
for him. Like his girl cousin who had cancer and did a bid for him with cancer.
Wow.
And as a mother.
Yeah, like she hid the car that he was driving that night in her garage
Wow.
And didn't say
Okay,
one
yeah,
word.
so
and
she
didn't say a
was-
Did we start,
word.
by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going.
Oh, no, I wasn't really paying attention.
It's
I was like,
okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's the banter. The reason
okay.
why I brought that up because don't want to spoil the Malcolm X show, but there was a time where something happened and everybody covered up. It wasn't one person. It was legitimately like
It was-
No, I want to
community.
watch it. A lot of people told
is
me.
it on Netflix or
It,
HBO?
it really does make you
Netflix.
question. It makes you question.
If Faisal was there, she'd be like, I know who did it.
Yeah. No, but I've already been convinced that like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, like all these people, they were all assassinated. Like
yeah,
none of this
absolutely.
was all
Absolutely.
accident. It was like there's a conspiracy behind it.
Yeah, no, it's deep rooted.
Yeah,
It's
because I
very-
don't
it's very
fit, like
deep.
I don't
It's very
usually
deep.
follow conspiracy theories so much. Like I'm
Yeah.
not that type of person that's like, it was a military plane that flew into the World Trade Center. Like I'm not that person, but I also feel like there are some truth to certain conspiracies. Those being some of them.
Yeah, but for all of you listeners who are listening and you hear double set of voices, well, you haven't said much, Lil.
Because I was leaving.
She doesn't know what we're doing. She
are
doesn't
I
two
know.
literally was just like, oh, okay, wait. And then I just heard, and then I was like, wait, this sounds kind of serious right now. It's just like,
Yeah, let me just see how this peters out.
Yeah.
We have two lovely guests today, but before we reveal who these lovely guests are, Muhammad, give me the countdown.
The show is no conspiracy, baby. 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jabril
And
Salam,
Muhammad Hassan.
and you are listening to the Young and Muslim Podcast.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hey,
Hey, come on, bro.
Off the game. Off the game.
I set you up.
I know I was waiting for everybody, but it's cool. It's cool. We out here, we
Everybody.
feeling it. It's a glorious Sunday out here, and we got two amazing guests, the sisters from Fire and Shade.
Yes.
hello.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Lul.
And I'm Faiza.
Bro, what kind of
It was really hard to
you
say
can
that.
at least say
Yeah,
that.
you love this.
I need the sauce. Can I get the sauce?
You gotta understand. Like
You gotta lead us up to it.
our roles switch for some reason. Mo, like this is your forte. I don't do the
You're
intros.
supposed to gas us up. Like
All right, Mo,
I need
Mo,
redo
look,
this intro.
Look, all right, look, we're gonna start over. We're gonna start over and let Mo
Run it back.
All right, run it back.
So next time, don't ever step in my lane.
So yeah, don't step in his lane.
Don't step in my lane. I was
All
waiting
right,
for you to
all
move.
right, let me sit back.
Yes,
Sit back.
Thank you. But like my brother was saying, have two lovely guests today, the Fire and Shade sisters, both Lil and Faiza. Thank y'all for coming on today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having
Yes,
us.
No problem.
That was much improved.
Much better. Yours was just.
I practiced this, bro.
Yeah.
He literally threw us a ball and then was like, "Do something," and I was just like,
Say
your names.
"Lul." Like, it's just like,
But yes, for those that follow you sisters' show, you know that there was 3 Stooges. Now there's only 2.
Yeah, we
sadly.
went from, and the thing was, somebody mentioned to us, they were like, y'all didn't even do it like the way Destiny's Child did it when they got rid of a member, they replaced her. Y'all just were like, nope, Kelly and Beyonce, that's who's staying.
wow.
Like,
But you did a good job. I listened to the episode and having her say it and start off the show
Yeah.
that way, she was still part of the show, and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, well, this makes sense. It's
because
real
we
life
didn't
out
when we
here,
first
so.
came back. We just literally like said something for like a second. We're like, "Oh, by the way, Amon's like not on right now." Da da da. And then I think people like the questions started coming in. Everyone's like, "Are you guys
Yeah.
fighting? What's going on?"
Yeah.
So she was just like, and she was out of town for work, so she's like, "Let me just send a little voice note in her little closet, like, hey guys, like." So it was nice to have her like be able to do that for us and stuff. And we still love her still in her life, so we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Because I told you, Bill, because we were recording, I was like, yo, I think they beefing.
so many people, they were like, some people were like, we're not going to listen if she's not on. And we're like,
Yeah.
wow, thanks for letting us know.
So how difficult has it been to like get your audience just to kind of still stay now there's just you two? Because the dynamic has definitely changed, right?
Yeah, I think what is easier, because me and Faiza's schedule is like different than Amon's, because Amon is a mother and like she has a lot going
Yeah.
on, so we're able to meet more often. So I think like with that, it's like, all right, here's more content now. We can do like these photo shoots and we can get on live and we can do more things. So maybe if people like, if we were maybe moving it the same way we were moving with her on,
Yeah.
people would have been like, what's going on? Like now it's just 2 people. They're not even barely posting on social media.
Gotcha.
So now we just did the switch around and we're like, all right. And I think people have just like focused more on that they kind of like don't really think about like, oh, there's another person missing.
Yeah.
So
And you guys, your audience is very, very involved. I mean, y'all put some on Twitter and y'all get responses. You put some
Yeah.
on Instagram, you get response. I
Yeah.
respond to some of the stuff, right? How do you guys deal with the constant feedback of people, especially with something major like this happening? How y'all deal with people always like knowing and being like, yo, like what's happening? Questions.
You can take that one.
Honestly, we share what we share, and for the rest of it, it's kind of like use your imagination. I feel like when you over-explain things, it loses, like, I don't know, like you lose something with that. It's just let it be a mystery, let it be part of your imagination.
Yeah.
I'd rather that than you sit here and make up, 100 reasons why.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what happened. Amon was doing this, blah, 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 blah. Faiza was doing this. You over-explain things, and then it makes it more real. That's why celebrities, like, and not saying I'm a celebrity at all, but I'm saying
I don't know. I don't
the reason
know.
why celebrities sometimes they don't say something about something is because tomorrow there's something else to worry about,
Got you, got
So
you.
it's like if you don't pay anything no mind, you're cool. Like nobody's gonna focus too much on it, which is what I try to do.
But do you mean also like questions that people just always want our opinions on too, kind of?
Yeah, because like, your audience is very involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I just think like we definitely take people's like feedback into account. Like if people say we want to hear this, we always tell people send us what you want send us what you want to hear us talk about. Like I want to hear what you guys want to hear. So the feedback's great, and we try to take everything that people say to us into account. But then also the reason why people like us is because we do our own thing.
Okay.
We come up with the topics. We come up with the foundation for all of this. So it's a mixer of both. I feel like we definitely take people's feedback into account, but it's also our show. So we try to be as original and as us as possible.
Yeah.
What type of relationship do you guys have with your listeners? Because that really determines what type of questions they're going to ask. So, for example, if you have a really personal type of relationship with them and a business, they can be like, oh, I guess Amon left for these reasons. There's other people like, yo, what happened? Maybe we can help figure out her situation so she can stay. Because that's really what happened. If something happened
That's
between
a
us.
community for
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
It's nice. Like they follow us on our personal pages because we're more active on that than we
Okay.
are on like the podcast page. Just because it's kind of hard
Why
to.
are you saying that? We're very active on the podcast.
No, but like, okay,
Presentations,
there's,
everything.
but like our podcast page is like, we do stuff when we talk about the podcast, but like on our personal, it's like now our personal lives, people will follow us and then they'll message and you just start to like build relationships. Or I get bored sometimes and I like stalk the pages and I'm like, damn, these girls are bad. Like, oh, these are pretty. Like, I'm just like, I'm stalking them and I'm like, they don't even know, but I just like sit there and I'm like, I love it, or like inspo and things like that. So it's just nice. It's like extra friends that actually want to listen to you sometimes when your real friends don't.
Yeah. And y'all have a very different podcast. So for anybody that's listening that doesn't know their podcast, y'all podcast is more on the
raw and unfiltered and
raw
care side.
It's raw, it's unfiltered. I think it's more like gossip is it gets a bad rep for a word, but I think it was more like gossip, like what's going on in the
current
the other
events.
side of current events, like what's going on the other side of your lives too.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that we want to ask, but a lot of times we're not going to ask it directly.
And I originally, when we did this podcast, I was like, I'm not going to compromise my personality for a podcast. So if I'm going to do this, you're going to get the same phase of us in real life, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like, and it's always been me, I'm not speaking for Lul,
I'm not like that.
I'm not the same in that aspect, but I'm always pushing the boundaries of what is considered decent, you know, not in a vulgar way, but, you know, we come from a patriarchal society where women are to be seen and not heard. And I'm just like, not only are you going to hear me, you're going to hear me loud and clear. And so I constantly am in this like cycle of, okay, well, you know, women speaking up about guys or women speaking up about certain things, it's considered indecent. I'm going to talk about it because I want people to understand that our voices are meant to be heard, regardless of what we're talking about, as long as we do it with a certain level of respect and class, which I don't always exemplify all the time, but I'm okay with that because of the simple fact of if I'm going to push the boundary, it makes people more and more comfortable with hearing certain things.
Absolutely.
So that's always been my thing.
It kind of makes it real too, because you go through this phase. I know as a guy, we go through this phase when it comes to Muslim women. You're like, oh, they don't do that. oh, no.
Are you kidding? I used to think Muslim people never drank, never did anything, and I was just like, once I saw the first Muslim person doing drugs, my mind was blown. I was like, wow. It happens, but it's because of the naivety, you know, like you're just conditioned to think certain things, and it's everybody like sins in their own way, you know, but it's kind of like if we can collectively come together and do better, ideally that's what we want to happen, but let's not forget that we're also humans and humans are bound to make mistakes. So even if it's just a conversation or whatever it is that's pushing the envelope, let it be that, you know, make the mistake. Because I know I've said things and I've done things where I can be enlightened, I can be corrected, you know. I'm humble enough to say I've been wrong many times. I can take that back and be like, I'm trying to be a better person. But to live in this like, quote unquote, like I'm gonna be PC and I'm gonna do, you know, I'm gonna ride that line of like, I'm not trying to get myself out there. You're on a public platform, you know what I'm saying? People can hear inauthenticity. People can hear when you're being genuine.
Also, I think if you don't talk about it, then it's like this gray area and people might be experiencing it and they don't know where to turn, so they just go deeper in the hole. So like, I think it's very like, people are just like, oh, we don't talk about things. Like growing up in my household, we just didn't talk about things because it's like, my daughter's Muslim, she will never do that, or she doesn't experience these things. Then you get thrown into a world of temptation and you're just like, oh, there's temptation everywhere, I don't know what to do, but I can't go and talk to people at home or my family because I don't want them to know that I'm even seeing these temptations. So I'm lucky enough to know that I never fell into a hole, but I can't blame other people who do, because if you're not talking about it, to be like, hey, look, I was there, I was at a party once, or you know, I liked a guy one time and I didn't know what to do, like maybe then it's just like, okay, I'm not the only one that has these feelings, and like maybe show me what I can do with these feelings that are more Islamically pleasing, or like things like that, instead of just being like, well, my American friends or my Christian friends, they all talk about this with their parents, so I'm gonna go to their parents for advice, and it's gonna be like not what's Islamically correct.
It's more out in the open in those communities.
And I think it's important that we dive into your upbringings, because people don't know about the show. It's led by 3 Somali women, black, 2 Somali women and 1 Kenyan. I'm sorry, I wrote
No. There's 2 of us.
No,
I know he said 1 Kenyan.
Started. I said started.
Okay.
Started.
I am not Kenyan. I love Kenya. Love Kenya.
So claim Somalia.
3 Somali women.
Started by 3 Somali women, which is what I said.
I don't know why the started part completely missed me. I was like, there's 2 of us here.
Yo.
That was 2. But tell us about, you know, your upbringing, how it was from your parents come from a different country, and kind of in, you know, jumping into American society, and how did that kind of turn into the platform that you have today? Because like you said, people they're seen but not heard, but not even come from a different country. you're not even seeing sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Especially as a black woman, I believe it's even harder. I mean, it's tough for us black guys, but we have that male superiority. Well, even if you come from any country, you'll still be ahead, even if it's just by a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, so
the black Muslim woman is public enemy number one. You have three things going against you: you're black, you're Muslim, and you're a woman.
Yeah.
So I
and
think
we have different upbringings too. So even as like we're black Muslim women, but we didn't even like grow up the same way.
Yeah. So I was born in Virginia.
Okay.
But I lived in Saudi Arabia until I was about 5.
Okay.
Came back. You guys, this is a long story. That's why I hope people
Sum it
never
up.
ask me where I'm from, because on any given day I'll say something else.
listeners are
But I
patient.
completed high school in Dubai. Graduated from college in Kenya, and then came back here in 2013. So I kind of like, I have a warped sense because yes, I'm from America, but I lived in the Middle East, so I understand the patriarchal effects on women, but then racism too. So that's another aspect of it. And then I moved to Kenya where it's like 60-40, like 60% Christian, 40% Muslim, depending on where you're at.
Is the racism same in the Middle East like it is here, or is here? You can
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to
The Middle East can be bad too, though,
No,
sometimes.
and the thing was, I would hear all the time like, "Oh, you're Somali, you know, you're fine," but they treat other people that have skin darker than me or lighter than me even, and be like, "Oh no, you're like Abid," which means slave.
What?
So yeah. Like they literally, I've had people tell me like, "Oh, you're Somali, you're fine." You know, Somalis, what you guys are part of the GCC, and I'm like,
What's GC? Was it?
Gulf Cooperative Council. It's the GCC is like the UAE, Oman, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Kuwait,
In the Somalia.
Somalia. It's the Gulf Cooperative Council.
Got you.
Wow.
But then we're also part of the Arab League.
Yeah. So it's you
know?
guys you kind of fit in a
That's
bunch
why-
of different
yeah.
boxes. It's weird. Yeah.
But like, so living in the Middle East, like my parents have always been super liberal. They're just like, live your life. Like my mom graduated from university here in America. So it's never been like, they've been here since the 60s and 70s. So for them, well, not the 60s, sorry, the 70s. But then, so they're very cool. Like my mom was very much like, you can date, but like date when you're older. Like ideally, this is how I would want you to date, but you're also your own person. So you can live your own life and do what you want to do kind of thing. And then you've got my dad who's just super liberal. He's just like, don't do drugs, like don't do anything crazy. And that's about it. Live your life. So I was just kind of, my parents were pretty free with a lot of things. Like I know, I mean, like a typical teenager, I was kind of told to stay away from certain things. But once I hit 18, my mom was just like, deuces, like do what you want. As long as you don't make those grave mistakes, just know I'm here for you. But other than that, my parents were super liberal. They were actually shocked that I married a Somali guy. Because I used to walk around and be like, never happening. You know, so...
I think
you,
like with me, I didn't really understand the heaviness of the term like black Muslim woman like growing up because I wasn't really like in my school was mostly white kids and the few black kids that were there like it was this weird competition where people just didn't want it's like you wanted to be the only black person in the room so it was like I need to look like the white person.
They wanted to be the
Like it's a psychological like I don't know it's actually really crazy looking back at it but growing up it's like they wouldn't be with each other.
I see what
Like
you're saying.
I'll have like a couple kids in my grade luckily like I'm still friends with now like 3 East African girls. We like stuck together but like other people were just like no they're gonna make fun of you for being African if they were black and like another black person in the room because it's like oh the white kids are gonna make fun of you now we're gonna jump in because I want to be in that group so then you're just sitting here and you're like okay now everyone's like competing to be like I don't know I just wasn't really around that many like people that look like me. So and then forget Muslim on top of that like most of the people are Christian so like I had my family thankfully but like I would see things and like not really understand and grasp the concept so my parents the way that they raised me is I went to like Quran school and all that stuff so it was like this other life I had besides like my main like everyday school life. And then that's when I kind of really like understood things and like my parents just gave this like invisible line like couple rules where it's just like don't like sleep over at people's houses that aren't your house like don't like get arrested don't do this so if you don't break these like 3 big rules I'm not going to ask you and bug you about the little things which I'm very thankful about because I think that if I didn't have that and I wanted my freedom so like if I tried to test it and I lost my freedom I couldn't do anything so it like was something to be afraid of and I was always like the biggest person to be like afraid of is God and he sees everything so if you're going to lie to me just remember you're going to have to answer to him one day so to me growing up that wasn't scary enough I was just like oh my God if I was doing
I
something
need.
bad with my friends, I'm just like, he sees me. I was like,
Like for Muslims,
There's nobody here.
you know, and then my
Like,
and then my friends are just
like,
like, wait, I don't get it. Like, it's not even Christmas, huh? Like, no gifts. Like,
yeah, like for us it's God, but for like, you know, a lot of the other kids are like, yo, Santa Claus knows. I need that gift. Like, yo, I can't be doing this.
yeah, I think it's like getting older and stuff like that. I'm just seeing like the amazingness of just like how powerful it is to just be a Black Muslim woman. Like, I don't know. I feel like I can understand everything. Like, I can understand the race, like, barriers. I can understand the gender barriers, and I can understand the religion barriers. And, like, you are three things that are kind of the most hated.
You're
in
public
each.
enemy number one.
Yeah, like, in
Yeah.
each things. And it's unfortunate that you have to, like, learn to have a thicker skin. Like, sometimes I wish I could, like, skim by life and not have to worry about other things. But also just makes you stronger. Like, I'm proud, like, if one day I'll have kids and, like, you know, I want them to be proud of it and, like, not live in a world where they're, like, afraid of it because it's, like, has such a negative connotation.
That is an interesting point you bring up about having kids, though, because I think what goes through our heads as being Black men is, yo, our wives have to be able to have that talk with the kid at a certain level. You know what I'm saying?
Raising
like
these Black girls out here. You know?
Yeah, like my mom had to talk. I mean, she was like, look,
Stop playing with yourself. No mayonnaise in the
don't
bread.
do anything stupid when the cops pull you over. Like, you're Black.
Yeah.
Like that. Like dad talk. Like.
I never had that talk.
What?
Yeah,
I had
but for Black men though, like that's something.
a different-
maybe it's different for you. Like I
had
had
that
talk.
conversation with like your family.
Yeah, so my family gave him that talk, right?
Yeah.
Because like with him being from Egypt, like his parents weren't really thinking like that. So
Understanding.
for me, it was like, all right, look, like you gotta remember, this is what it is out here.
Yeah, I think maybe because I lived overseas, I missed a lot of like things that happen here
Oh.
that I just like.
But you know, even as a
We'll catch you
female,
up.
I know, even as a female, my mom always taught me like you have to work twice as hard to get half of what they have.
Yeah.
So no matter what, I'd be like, oh, I did this. And she goes like, you need to do more. And I'm like, but this is amazing. But it's like, you need to do more to even be looked at in a room.
Yep.
But I know with guys, it's more so like, it's an enemy. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like cops you have to be afraid of.
Yeah, the most feared.
My last name's Hussein. So like my parents knew that I have a temper, right? So like when I got a car, they're like, we're not putting it under your actual, like I took my mom's last name on like my deed.
Okay.
Because my dad was like, I get pulled over sometimes just because of my name. And they just want to check my car. And you have to just be okay with that. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm going to say something. I'm not letting that. So they were like, we're not taking that risk. And like my mom had my name under, like my car under her name. Just like little things like that I'm sure people who have the last name Smith don't even think about.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, what do you mean? Just get a car, like boom. And I was like, no, that's not fair. People are gonna like make fun of me because of my last name and think that like, you know, oh, she's a terrorist, or like just because they watch the news and they think that's real.
Yeah, I skated by that. Like my first and last name are very ambiguous, so people are
what's
just
your-
like,
what's
we
your
don't
last
know. Mahalim. It's Mu'allim in Arabic.
Yeah.
But my last name is Mahalim. So everybody's just like, when they see it on paper, they're like, South Indian? Arab? We don't know. Like, I get Ethiopian all the time, too. I'm just like, yeah, cool. Like, whatever y'all want to call me is what I'm... So I skated by through, like, all of that. But it's true. Like, you do have to think of those kind of things. I personally am a little ignorant to it sometimes, too, though, because, like... You start to acknowledge police and authority once you start hitting your teenage years, right?
Yeah.
And I lived in Kenya at that point. Cops didn't even have cop cars. Like, they'd get in your car and they'd be like, let's go to the police station. And I'm just like, bro, I'm not
They
going to...
catch an Uber to the police station.
I'm
Yo, that's
literally like,
nuts.
get out my car. Like, I'm not taking you to the police station, nor am I going to get arrested. Like, I'm okay, you know? So it's like when I got here, I understood it, obviously, because you hear about, like, the Trayvon Martins and the Mike Browns and the Sandra Blands and all these things. But I just kind of was like, I don't know. I feel like this is the DMV.
Ignorance
I'm fine.
is bliss.
You know?
I'm
I think
sure
that's-
everyone says that though before it happens in
I think
their area.
though girls, we
DMV
get a
is
pass
definitely
in the
not
DMV. I really do. I feel like they're just like, oh,
You better.
They're not looking for us,
Like,
you know?
alhamdulillah.
They're not
You don't
looking
know.
for us.
It could happen.
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, even I think the crazy incident I had with police was we were actually together. Remember,
Yeah,
we were
that
coming
was-
from the beach. And it was late. We're in my neighborhood, and we get pulled over by the cop. And he's like, "Oh, you guys ran stop sign." We're like, "No, we didn't." Like we know it was
Yeah.
a blatant lie, and it was just 3 black dudes in a car going home, and he pulled us over, took us out of the car.
jumped in the
Yeah,
car.
like it was like unnecessary. And I'm like, "Yo, I'm literally a block away from my house."
And you can't even have attitude because it's like,
I did
what
that.
could get worse?
I ran a
Yeah.
stop sign
Yeah.
in like Virginia Beach on like into going onto the highway. I ran a stop sign off like a exit ramp, and the guy just literally was like, I snitched on myself as soon as he walked up to the window. I was like, "Officer, I know I ran that stop sign. I'm so sorry." I was like, but then it was like
You're
4 girls,
self-incriminating.
4 black girls in the car with like Virginia Beach shirts on. So he was just like, "Go."
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the ignorance of it. To me, I'm just like, the worst is you're going to give me a ticket. I'm not thinking about things that could happen, you know?
Yeah.
But it sucks. You have to teach people that, like, especially your own kids, and like your
This is
parents
not our
probably had,
country.
like, they had to talk with you enough for them to have the talk with you, though. It's like, this is a scary thing that I'm sure if I have a son, like, that would be terrifying for me.
Yeah.
Should be scary if I have a daughter too, but just as a son, even more, because like just the ignorance and the anger that they could have towards black men, which is like ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
But,
No, and we'll definitely go into like raising, black children here in America. But one thing that both of you guys said I was interested in was in regards to your parents and how you guys were raised in regards to making good decisions, and they let you make decisions on your own. Jabril and I talked about this right before you guys came here. I was saying that even grown people, they just started making decisions on their own 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm talking people that are 20, 35, whatever, because their parents or people have been making the decisions for them their whole life, whether it's going with the crowd or just your mom and dad telling you everything to do, especially as a woman, whether it's your mom, your dad, your uncle, your husband, somebody telling you what to do. So it's like at that point, you're not really making your own decisions, and you can't grow like a person. You can't grow as a person. So, I mean, do you think that was something that was pretty important for you guys growing up? Your parents giving you, I guess, those boundaries on what not to do, but everything in between, make your own decisions, make sure it's the right decision, and we support you no matter what you do.
it's a psychological mind game. Like I was able to make my own decisions. I remember when I was in college, I dropped out because I was like, I don't like school. This is not for me. I don't want to do it. So my parents were just like, okay, come back home, like whatever. Just as long as you like get a job and do something. So everyone's like, how did you get away with that? I'm like, my parents are chill. They're cool. Like that. The minute I moved back in that house, maybe a week later, my mom's like, if you don't get to school, you're just going to be stuck in this job forever. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, no, I got it. And it took me a year and some change. And I was like, I'm going back. Hands up, I'm going back. It was like any time I had any ounce of fun, she'd just be like, college. And I'm like, what was that? I was like, what's happening?
Just walking by college.
And so I went back to school and I graduated. And then literally she was just like, yo, like, look, aren't you so happy? And I was like, off my back, please. And she goes, now grad school. And I'm like, what is this? I was like, you're supposed to be like, I'm supposed to have my own decisions. And she's just like, no, I promise. After this, you're good. And then it's like, all right, marriage. Exactly. And then when you get married, it's like kids. It's like, they're in your head still, but I'm always thankful. Like if I didn't go back to school, I wouldn't have the job that I have now and like all these opportunities. So I know parents know what's best, but they just have to let a child make that themselves, because if they do it for them, it's not going to mean anything. Like my parents forced me to go to school the first time. Even though they influenced my decision to go back, it still was like the day that I was like, all right, I'm going to enroll. I'm ready.
Yeah.
And so you just have to have that like a line, but if it's just too much control, then it's not going to work. I think someone's just going to explode.
And I think some of their concerns are valid.
Absolutely.
Like growing up, like I did 10th through 12th grade in Dubai, where it's like, it's very safe. My parents used to let me just take a cab to the mall, no problem. And here you can't even think about allowing your child to do that solo dolo. So it was like, they gave me the freedom, but in the back of their minds, they knew they were giving it to me because of where I was and the location I was, kind of thing. So it helped because I was like, I could be trusted. You can hand me money and I can say I'm going to the mall and I'm at the mall. And my mom would do like random pop-ups. She'd be like, oh, you're at the mall? All right, bet I'm coming. And then like randomly, she'd be like, yeah, I'm at the store. What store are you at? And it was just like a thing where she's like, I know it's safe, so nothing is really gonna happen to you. It's just more so, let's build this trust factor. So by the time I got to university, she used to like lock the door when I'd be gone all weekend. Like she'd just be like, all right, you're good. Like I can trust you. So her allowing me to make those decisions by myself, it made me more afraid, not of disappointing her, but getting in trouble in the real sense of the word. So I was more like, if it's safe, I'm cool. Like I'm super hyper aware of my surroundings. I'm always like, I know where the exit is. The fact that I'm driving somebody else's car today
like
is making me
Bourne.
awkward. I'm one of those people, I always have my car with me. I can't. I'm just like, I need to go. As soon as something happens, I need to bounce.
You know what? I also like having my car too. That's
it just made me more aware, because her thing was, I trust you. Yeah. It's other people I don't trust. And that's what she instilled in me. And it allowed me to make my own decisions, but also like, if I'm out and I feel iffy about it, leave.
Yep.
What's the big deal? You know what I'm saying? Just leave. You don't have to stay here.
Which is big.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, because like usually there's so many times when you get in trouble where you kind of felt like, should I leave? Like, nah, I'm with the homies.
No.
I'm with my girls.
My mom.
But you feel it in your heart.
You feel how like something better go
Not
down.
right. Yeah.
My mom used to be like, the driver will wake up at 3 a.m. if you need him to come pick you up from wherever you are if you're uncomfortable. And I think that's why I'm so attached to my vehicle, because I'm like, I can leave. Like, I don't have to be here.
But you know what? That's why, like, before we started, you were like, we were talking about having the ringer on the phone, right? And how I always keep my anointing to answer the phone.
Yeah.
We had a situation in college where, you remember you called me, like, you and Jam called me like 4
Oh,
in the
yeah,
morning.
yeah.
So they called me at 4 in the morning, and I pick up, and it's like, yo, I got you.
Yeah.
And so, like, having, we always told, like, having a buddy system, like a circle of friends, people you can rely on in those situations where you might not be comfortable or whatever, you got to make sure you have reliable people around you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
My close people are on my favorites list. So you'll get to bypass the silent, you'll get to bypass the do not disturb, all that stuff.
Oh, so hold on, there's a feature on the phone? For
Yeah.
Yeah. If
You
you put
can
them on your
select
favorites
contacts.
list.
He's on Galaxy time. Don't.
Oh, you don't have an iPhone.
Oh, sorry.
Look. All right. So for
Awkward.
the listeners, right? So you guys know, I soon will be on Team iPhone.
Ooh.
In 2021?
If we get 10,000 subs, Jabril's gonna iPhone 6 Plus.
Make sure you smash the
Six
like.
plus.
Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button, guys. Like,
I'm weak.
Donate it.
no,
You know,
but
it's
seriously,
so
Team
funny.
iPhone.
Actually, someone I gave them my number, and then so they texted, and then they said like their name is the first text, and like the second text before I even responded back, yes, I'm aware I have an Android and your texts are green, but let's just skip past that. I literally was like, wow, I was literally gonna say, why is my text green? Why do you have an Android?
Y'all are like, it's weird. Everybody's
culture, bro.
like, oh my god, like Android. Your Instagram camera's so bad.
It's literally, it's not even the difference between PC and Mac. It's like Mac and Linux. Like, it's like literally, like, it's just like, what is going on here? You're planning on building
pixelated.
something. Yeah. And then, like, the camera looks like CCTV footage. Like,
But
Yeah,
you
it
know
is
what I'll
pretty
give
bad.
you
It is
is
pretty
I've
bad.
seen it on an actual Android and the photo looks fire. It just doesn't
Exactly.
transfer well.
it doesn't
Yeah, for some
transfer
reason it
well.
doesn't transfer to iPhone or like through the apps
on,
that they both can
Samsung.
use. So I'll take it. But yeah, I'm going to get on board.
have a great day, Keisha. This Android will never. I will never. I will be Team iPhone. They will take my money.
I've been getting smacked for that for the last 2 years.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Did you used to have an iPhone and switch to Android?
Yeah.
What happened?
But the thing is,
Weren't you one of the first people to get an iPhone?
yeah, I was one of the first people to have iPhone.
Like the 3?
No, I had no. This dude had the 3,
I
like
had
the,
the
the,
3.
the turtle shell on the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
type joint.
yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
I got the 4. I was the first like with the upgrade.
Oh.
Where everybody else had like the
Oh.
1 and the 2. And I was like, yeah, it's got glass on the front and the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it-
now you're like in dinosaur times.
No. Like the thing is, like my phone, I like it because it's durable.
Yeah.
And the battery lasts a long time. So me, I'm always on it. I gotta be here, gotta be there. So for me, it's more of like a working.
Apocalypse
But
training.
the new iPhones have great batteries. Mine lasts all
Honestly,
day.
portable
They do.
chargers are not that expensive. Like, there's ways
Yo,
around
you guys just
everything,
came up with
okay?
scary reason for me to
It's like $20, you know? Like, no big deal.
No, so with you guys having the upbringing, right, and you guys having that boundary, which seems very wide for you guys, like, which
Liberal.
is
Yeah,
good. It's very
yeah.
liberal, which
Yeah.
I think a lot of girls that listen to this podcast, even that listen to your podcast, probably don't have that luxury, right? Once you guys got into the temptation part of your lives, right? Let's say like mid-20s to now.
We're teens. It starts at
I started off early. I was like out at 18.
All right, cool. So 18. All right, so we'll say like from college age to now, right?
Yeah.
How did you deal with that stuff? Because people that listen to us know our story, but like, what is you guys' story and experience of getting to all the shenanigans,
temptations,
the
yeah.
shenanigans of your late teens, early 20s?
So I'm not gonna sit here and expose myself ever.
Absolutely.
No.
No. But I will say all my dirt I did in Kenya. So like it's buried there. You know, I'm not gonna bring it back up.
You'll need to
came
fly it
off.
over here.
Yeah. I was like,
came
nobody
off
here can
Goliath.
sit here and tell me about my life. Like all the crazy stuff that I did is over there. But I will say, like, I think with the way that my parents raised me, I was more afraid of like people finding out than what I was actually doing sometimes, which was a messed up way to think.
Yeah.
I could be out with people, like I would hang out with, most of my friends weren't Somali, and for you to be in Nairobi, that's pretty crazy, right? But I don't know, I just stayed away from Somali people. I was just like, y'all talk too much, like
No,
I'm
but
not with
like,
it.
what did you do with like the temptation?
No, so hold on. So like I would stay away from Somali people, but I was still indulging, right?
Yeah.
Like I'd be out without everybody. I'd be out all weekend. Like my mom used to lock my door, and I'd be out from Thursday to Sunday. I'd show back up at the house on Sundays.
Yeah.
Dang.
But it was just like nonstop partying and like and the thing is, in Kenya it's different, where here you have to be 21 to get in the clubs.
Yeah.
There you only have to be 18. So freshman year I'm out
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh, that's nuts.
What? Oh, they're
She's
like,
just
they're
like,
literally,
no,
she's
I'm
like
laughing
scratching
because she
her
goes, I'm not going to expose myself. So here's the intense detail. She goes,
No, I'm not gonna get in
this place, and
detail.
this.
But like, so, it was a mix of fear of people finding out that kept me from doing things. But also, I'm pissed afraid of my grandma. Like, my grandma is the one person I never want to disappoint in life. So I'd be like, she's not gonna like this. Like, I was always like crazy adjacent.
Yeah.
Never really in the middle of the crazy. I'd be in the crazy where like we're gonna do some wild stuff, but it's never gonna be anything where like, let me just shut up. I'm gonna be exposing myself way too much, but I just feel like it's like you gotta. It was a balance. Like I was never going straight off the deep end. You know, it was just more so pushing the envelope with like I didn't care if I got seen with like a group of guys and like a mixed group of people. I didn't care that like I never wore a scarf. You know, but a lot of Somali girls in Nairobi, everybody wears a scarf, so I was an anomaly too. And then on top of that, like I didn't care about dressing modestly, whereas they did. Like, which was weird because there would be like Somali girls that I know. True story. I used to go to school with some of these girls, would wear hijab and abaya, and they'd be at the bar off campus. I kid you not, in their hijab and abaya. Meanwhile, I'm at the same bar playing pool, but I'm the one that gets labeled everything. And I'm like, how? Because the bar was like, it was like a food place, but it had drinks, it had like pool. It was like a TGI Fridays almost. They would be sitting at the bar knocking back drinks, and nobody would say anything because they're in abaya and hijab. Meanwhile, FaZe is there playing pool. Cargo shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm the hoe, like, but that's
crazy.
And you're not even drinking.
And I'm not even drinking. I'm sitting there, I'm playing pool, I'm just having a good time with friends. It's off campus, therefore it's like, less of a headache kind of thing. The music's bumping, it's a good time, but I'm the one that's labeled.
But why do people do that?
Because they live a double life.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is not even the double life part. Like that's already
that's already known. Transformers, hijabis in disguise. You never heard
that?
Never.
Is there like verses to this song?
No, it's just that one verse. It's that one verse.
Mixtape coming soon. No, like why do people put women that wear hijab on such a pedestal, but then we look down on women that decide, hey, that's not what I want to subscribe to, but I still am going to subscribe to the characteristics.
Yeah, and my thing was
because they think that you're just looking at you and you're not covered up, right? And they're just like, look at her, she's like not afraid of anyone, she's not afraid of God, look at how she's moving. But they're not thinking someone could be wearing a hijab and a abaya, but you don't know what's in their heart, and someone could be in a t-shirt and jeans and you don't know what's in their heart. That person can be praying 5 times a day and knows that and God knows they're trying their hardest, but they just haven't gotten to the level yet of a scarf.
Process,
Versus a person that's wearing a scarf and is covered, but is maybe talking about everyone negatively, maybe only made one prayer that day, but just because she has a scarf, it's like Muslim woman, only view I have of that, and that's it. It's like that's just because that's what they see as a Muslim woman. You're covered. They don't think about anything else.
Who views that? Muslim woman, Muslim men, or
just in general? Even
other Muslim women
I've had
will
Christian
do that.
friends too. They're like, you don't even wear a scarf. I'm like not saying Happy Ramadan to you or whatever. And I'm just like they're jokes and things like that, But I'm always like, okay, like I'm like, all right, whatever, like like just get your laugh off. But I'm just sitting here like that's such a common thing though that people even are just like, if you don't wear a scarf, how are you going to say you're Muslim? And it's hard because even I'll look at people sometimes when they wear hijabs and stuff, and I'll just be like, oh, they look really pretty and all this stuff, and I'm like, damn, I don't want them to think I'm looking at them because like she has a scarf on, because looking at me, you wouldn't know that I'm Muslim or not, know. And that's just a tricky thing. I guess it's just that.
I mean, but look what that does to you internally, because even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I mean, it's at the point where like you're not the one that determines who's Muslim, who's not. That only God can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
God is the most. He's judge. That's the judge. You feel me? So for anybody to say that, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And internally, dang, like, am I a Muslim? And then now you have a whole internal battle, and it can really crush you. And next thing you know, if you leave Islam altogether, it's their fault.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like, cause
I've had the struggles. I felt
Absolutely.
the struggles of it too. I'm like, wait, I'm like not wearing a scarf. Like sometimes I'm just like, it's just a harder step for me to get to, but I hate it because then people are just like, not Muslim doesn't count. Like, da-da-da. It really does take a toll on you, but you just have to know these people don't matter. Only God does. And he knows literally, like, even if you're not saying it with your mouth, he knows what's in your heart.
And it never really
as long as
bothered
my heart's
me,
pure, that's all I can just ask for.
It never really bothered me personally, just because I'm like, in those type of situations with the girls at the bar, I just kind of was like, yo, I respect the hijab more than to ever walk into a bar where there's liquor being served and walk in like that. So I'd rather not wear a scarf, because I also feel like, nuns, when they wear their clothes, it's like, you look at them, you're like, wow, like this is a nun, I respect like, their faith and how devoted they are to their faith.
There's a certain standard,
of respect that you're going to
Yeah.
give them. So the same with a hijab. I'm not going to sit up in here and be in the club with hijab. What makes you think that I'm going to, like, to me, it's like the most outwardly way of proclaiming that you're Muslim.
Yeah.
Why desecrate the image of a Muslim like that way? Wow.
Wow.
It's the same thing to me. So I'm like, if I'm not going to sit here and live up to the image, why am I going to sit here and disrespect that? If anything, that just shows you that I have more respect for my religion, because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm going to wear a hijab, but then be out and doing this, that, and the third. Not to say I'm judging, but that's just my personal belief, which is why when people would be like, oh, you're less of a Muslim, or whatever these kind of things that they would say about me not wearing a hijab, I don't care, because I don't know what's in your heart, but you could be wearing a hijab. I know it's in mine. I know how much I respect my religion. There's no way you're going to sit here and tell me I'm less than because I choose to respect it in a different way.
Yeah. Hey, and at the end of the day, like you're phasing. You know what I'm saying? So for the one that would have came in there, now it's all Muslims are labeled at that point. You know, and then that that goes from one to the masses. You know, what can happen. And the same thing with the guys. You know, they talk about they want women dressed up, but they're out there, and every Instagram post, you know, they're talking about, you know, they're doing this, that, and third, praying. Then they also are showing like them like clubbing or just doing whatever, you know, and not maybe with the shirt off, or at the same time not respecting anybody. You know what I mean? Respecting the women in their life, the people in their life.
I had people come at me because I said that if you sat here and ever went out and were this party person, but not want to say, I want a nice, wholesome virgin wife, you're a misogynist and you're trash, in my opinion.
You're a hypocrite.
You're a hypocrite. And they were just like, but to them, I think it's also like this thing where, and I'm not going to say all boys, but I think
boys.
Not boys, men.
No. She's
talking about the term. No, I think that's
no,
we're
it's
men.
Boys. Yeah, you guys are men.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like it's one of those things where they are brought up in a way that they can do no wrong. You know, we have a term in Somali that basically, like, if a girl were to go and do something, it'd be like she's tarnished forever. But like a guy were to do something, they say it's like the equivalent of him going to the shops. You know, he did his little dirt and then he came back. You know what I'm saying? He grew up.
They call it sowing your royal oats.
Yeah, sowing your royal oats, basically in the same sense. And they'll just be like, but he's a boy. Like at the end of all it, he's a boy.
Are you going to do the same thing to your children?
Huh?
Are you going to do
No, my children are equally, my son's going to hoover and sweep, and my daughter's going to wash the dishes, and then they're going to alternate every other day. Like there's no, like I don't feel like there are certain gender roles that I'm going to say I benefit from with patriarchy. But like that I'm not going to do, because you are responsible just like the other sex is responsible. Don't sit up in here and say, oh, I want this person, I want that person, and you're not that person. You know what I'm saying? And that's, to me, where I have the biggest problem, because people find it, oh, they'll say, oh, I want a virgin wife. Are you a virgin? When you're putting this energy out here? You know, I want a wife that's never been out. Have you ever been out? You know
that's literally that day of the conversation. I basically was like, everyone come at Lil Day, because I was just talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I like to go out and do things. I'm single, so to me, that's not a big issue. When I'm ready to be married and I found someone I really like, I can easily take myself out of that environment, because I just don't want, there's no need for me to be in it. And they were just like, well, I wouldn't even wife you up if I knew that you were doing that prior to us talking. I was like, what? And he was just like, no, because when I go out, I know what my intention is. I'm trying to find someone to go home with for the night, or like, you know, all these things. And I'm just like, okay, but is that my intention though? Like, exactly. But, and he was just like, they're like, I'm out of that life and I'm done. But like when I'm getting ready to talk to a girl, like I just want them to fully like be just chilling at home, maybe going to coffee shops and like with their friends.
Yo, they watch too many movies.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, first of all, I go out with my friends to have fun, and I do like to go and meet new people. But if I'm sitting here talking to somebody, then that interest to go out and meet new people is gone. So it should just start from like where we both are at the same time. I would get an issue if maybe you were more serious, and then every weekend they're like, I'm gonna go out with my girls, I'm gonna go out. That's maybe where it can become an issue, because it's like we're building. So why
she doesn't agree. She doesn't agree.
I don't. Sorry, I know people that go out strictly for the music. Like they want to be in that vibe. They like
get speakers at your house.
No, but it's not the same thing. People are like, oh, do it at home, or listen to music in the car, or whatever. Regardless, right? I know people, and we have friends that go out, don't even talk to guys. But you're labeling them with the same brush as somebody who's going out looking for a guy every weekend.
It could be legitimately going out to dinner with the girls.
Yeah, dinner with the girls, or you're going to a lounge. Even if you want to go to a club, go to a club. That doesn't mean you're there to pick up people. Sometimes you just like the vibe, you like the music, you like, you know what's going on. But does that mean that I am less of a person, or I should be, you know, I'm like dirt? No, that just means I have certain hobbies and you have certain hobbies. Don't judge me for my hobbies. You know what I'm saying? Because it's you're automatically assuming that it's with the like a worse type
but
of.
They're saying that they weren't judging. They're like, no one's judging.
Yes,
I'm just saying that's not for me.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here fighting. I'm like, I don't even want you. I don't know why I'm fighting to fit your mold. But I'm sitting here, I'm like, but why are you saying that's not for you? I don't get it. And I'm like, why is it being classed as this horrible thing. Like, you do realize girls like to go out and have fun. Like, no, some people like coffee shops on the weekends.
Yep.
Others like to be in music, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes we just like to get together and like get all dressed up and go
Honestly,
to dinner and
getting
go
dressed
out.
up is the fun part.
That's the fun part for us. So it's like, it's just
Wow.
literally where we
Getting ready
end
is
up.
the
That's
fun
all y'all
part.
doing it for.
That's
You
No,
That's
literally
that's a
just
5
get
minute
We got
ready.
new
process
makeup,
for
we
us.
got a new outfit, we
Yes.
want to go and try it out.
Like,
You
yo,
know
bro,
what
throw on the
I'm
hoodie real quick.
I'm like, could you have not done more? It's like not fair. Guys have it so easy.
saying? You guys can wear a black shirt and jeans, look fine. Meanwhile, we have to put on like 7 different things.
No.
so it's different.
But that's what y'all think. My man Drake said it best, right?
Yeah, sweatpants, hand chilling with no makeup
Okay,
on.
so are you gonna go talk to that person if you go out and meet
No,
a person?
100%. Like, for me, I'm more attracted to that than like when you get dressed up and like go out and stuff. That's
Really?
me.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's like your
But
person.
that's your preference.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly, that's my preference.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask you guys is, do you think you have to match up with the person that you're with though? Because like, all right, explain that.
I don't think you have to. It's just as long as there's a level of respect, you don't have to be the same person.
Well,
You know what I'm
not
saying?
not so much the same person, but like they can at least understand where you've been. You know what I'm saying? Like me personally, I couldn't be with someone that doesn't not saying they went through the exact same stuff, but they at least have empathy towards where I was at that time, and it's not completely foreign. They're not like so naive, like you did that, like
Yeah,
nobody, like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, you used to have
I
a
feel you.
life?
Yeah, no, that I agree with.
Yeah.
That I agree
Yeah.
with because like my husband is like, he knew me as the person I am today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna hold my tongue. Everybody has their own past. He's never gonna judge me. I'm never gonna judge him. And we have to be comfortable with the fact that not everybody's a cookie cutter perfect person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My husband and I, we've been married for almost 2 years now. I just
Congratulations.
kind of like,
Mashallah.
if he wants to go out with his boys, go ahead. Like, I trust you. It's that mutual trust and respect. You want to go hang out with your boys. You guys want to go hit up some place, a couple places or whatever, go chill together. I don't care. If I want to do the same with my girls, it's cool. Like, to me, it's like you have to have somebody who's empathetic to it, because I've seen it in situations where I know girls, and I mentioned this on our last episode. I know girls that I've known going to hookah bars.
Yeah.
As soon as they get married, they're like, I can't smoke hookah anymore. But then they'll do it slick way,
slick,
you
yeah.
know? They're just like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
hiding it. I can't smell like it. Which, by the way, you don't smell like hookah. Like,
Let
you smell
that
like
go.
coal. You literally do not. There's no way. Like, you walk into the house and nobody's gonna be like, gum and mint. No, nobody's gonna say that, you know? But like, that's the thing. That's where people get messed up, because I'm like, yo, first of all, this person is not your dad. Like, first of all, nobody's telling me what to do except my daddy and my mama.
Yeah.
But secondly, why are you not an equal? Like, why are you a subordinate in a situation? If that person was aware, was empathetic, was, you know, not a hypocrite in my opinion, because if it's not me, you know somebody who's like this, and I'm sure you're okay with it. Why do certain things apply to me and not to them?
I think with a partner, the best is to have like the perfect
Halal.
halal to haram ratio.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I want somebody that, like, I'm not perfect. Like, you know, I've done things, you know, in my past that I'm not like, you know, that I don't want to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
in
yeah.
my future.
Yeah.
So I would want a partner that I'm like, okay, we both have our past that we've like overcame. And I always said I wanted someone who has a stronger deen than me, maybe.
Absolutely.
Because, and I want to like, you know, someone that's going to better me in life. But then I have to think about on the other side, like, is someone going to be looking around like, I want someone with a smaller like deen than me so I can teach them. But, you know, I just think that I just want to like, just grow. So I feel like we have to be on the same path. But like, if I'm trying to like go up and then like I find someone, fall in love with them, and they're just like slowly looking like they want to like leave the religion or like make their own loopholes, at that point I feel like it won't work.
You got it.
Yeah, if you're sitting here trying to
shit.
grow and they're just like, hey, I tried alcohol for the first time, tastes great. Like, you're like, okay, how are we gonna
Hold on, bro.
How's this working, you know? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
just the trickiness I think of it.
I like
Yeah.
when
that.
it comes down.
Because it's like, you know, I know your past, you know my past.
Yeah,
So let's
exactly.
work to get out of this. Or if you might not be in it, but it's just like, we know what happened.
Yeah.
Let's work to build. Because you try to forget your past.
I don't.
But,
that's
but the problem is
you
you
know,
can't. You got to carry. You got to
I
carry.
heard-
I gotta say this real
Yeah.
quick. Like, if y'all don't know, like, I'm a big Drake fan, so I have a Drake quote for everything.
Oh my
too.
God.
And so so like the when you
Waffle colored Negro strikes again. Like, pretty albino
Leave him
girl
alone.
strikes again.
yo when he's like, you got to pass another two, we're perfect for
Yeah.
each other. Like, I was like, ooh. He put,
Honestly, guys, we need to move away from Drake. Like,
no, I know.
He's
No,
like the Nickelodeon of rap.
Look, I know, but it's not even the fact that like, oh, I like him.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
he has a
He has
quote
a
for
relatable
a relatable quote for everything.
People like the way he talks about girls sometimes, like women in relationships.
Yeah.
People are like, he's hung around too many Muslim people because he identifies with our struggle.
Yeah,
Like,
Jersey.
you know.
But I saw this thing on Twitter where someone was saying like you need to stop talking about your past when you enter new relationships. Like it's and they're like it's haram to like bring up your sins and live in your sins.
Yeah.
I personally don't believe in that because I don't want to ever go into a relationship where I felt like I had to lie or like hide part of my past because
like I'm starting
that
over.
made me who I am.
You
If
gotta
I
be
didn't,
open.
if I didn't go through what I went through as a child, like I wouldn't be Lul. Like so to me, I'm like I'm not bringing it up to say like, hey, like this is I'm open to try again
not-
or
yeah,
do
you're not
things.
bragging
It's
like
yeah,
that.
it's
It's
more
just
so
like-
like I want you to understand me and my whole journey and my struggle, and I would love to understand yours.
That's empathy.
And that's how we're gonna grow. And then when we want to raise kids, then we'll like know what to do when certain like trials and tribulations come about, like which is parenthood.
Absolutely.
And it's just like what resonated with you when you were a child, and like what didn't work that made you kind of veer off the wrong path, so that we can help our child.
Yeah, I think a lot of times our parents, when they fail to mention those things, right? Like the temptation part of life that you'll get into, and not focus so much on like believe in yourself and you're great. And this it's like, yo, like understand when I leave this house, all that stuff is right there in our faces.
Yeah.
And if your parents can't if your parents can't explain it to you or they don't know it, it's dangerous.
I think it's either or.
Yeah, I think I was blessed. My mom told me, like, with my biological father, because I was raised by my stepdad. She was like, she told me from early. She's like, your dad and I dated for 8 years.
Wow.
Before we even got married.
Nice.
So it's just kind of the idea of, yes, it may not have been the right way to do it, but we're all human. And I'm not going to sit here and as a parent say I'm above certain things. You know what I'm saying? That because I think there's this like, when they don't talk about it, it creates this like figure in your mind of your parents.
Like
they
they're
can
not
do
real.
No wrong. They're
they're
not
not
real.
exactly. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like immune to
can't
just
you can't
temptation.
relate to them.
And then you feel like when you go outside and you're in America, you're just like,
I'm weak.
I'm
Yes.
weak. My parents are so much stronger than me. They have, like a better stronghold with their culture and their religion than I do, and I'm a failure and I'm gonna be nothing like my parents and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, my mom was very quick to like even simple things. High school, I hated physics. She was like, yeah, I failed physics. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it makes it more real because it's like they make mistakes just like you do. And I think when you are able to look at them as humans, then you're able to, with their flaws and everything, accept them for who they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, that's an interesting point because when you look in our religion and you look at the prophets,
Yep.
none of them were perfect.
Yeah.
Or their family members.
Or their family member, whatever, like, but they were human. At the end of the day, like, no matter how divine they were, how great they were,
Yeah.
they were still human, prone to mistakes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, like, that's the great thing about our religion is that we put them on a pedestal,
Yeah.
but they're on the pedestal to show us that, hey, like, Moses killed somebody.
Yeah.
That nigga, he threw hands.
Yeah.
Like, don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? So, and, like, they all have flaws. However, the act of trying to be better and having that repentance and remembrance of Allah is what kind of it morphed them into being who they were in the great example. So it's like when we look at our parents, same thing. Like I had a conversation with my dad. I was like, yo, I did not know that, but I wasn't shocked because growing up, he would share certain things with me that I was like, okay, I appreciate that. And as I got older, I was like, damn, my dad he told me that beforehand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it helped me out. And I think for our generation, with us having, certain things that we went through, it's going to work better for our kids because
I think so,
things,
definitely.
things are getting crazy out here now.
It's a good
Like,
balance.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm so happy with my parents being here for so long. They were able to grasp, like, because my grandma was always in our household. So the grandma was the immigrant staunch, don't be Americanized, like, don't
that-
do
that
anything,
staple.
don't, like, disrespect our culture, our religion. And then my mom's just kind of like, all right, we're a happy medium. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have your religion, you have your culture, but at the same time, you're able to navigate because we're not in our home countries.
Yeah.
But
Some
they
of
make
us,
it
we're not in our
seem-
home countries.
But parents still live like they are.
Yeah, and that's
you
the
know.
part where it would mess with me because they're
Yep.
just like, we don't do this, we don't do that. And I'm just like, this is America.
And then you
Like,
get to school
real.
and everyone's just like, you're
No, as-
freaking weird.
as
Like,
soon as you
what?
leave that-
African
Yeah.
booty scratchers and everything.
What are you doing? And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, on Sunday, like, oh, Saturday, do you want to come hang out? I'm like, I'm going to Quran school. They're just like, huh? And I was like, oh.
Well, why are you acting like you don't go to Sunday school? Like, why are you looking at me so weird?
But then on the other side, it's like, you have two type of parents. One that may not say anything, right? Then you have other parents that tell you about everything, which is, I see here a lot here in America, like the kids will know everything at the age of like 7. Like, Johnny,
and then they end up
all
becoming
that,
the
Johnny?
parent.
So it's like you
gotta
have a medium.
Yeah.
You gotta slowly like give it to them at that age. All right, they're at the age we can talk about this. Like, they're 7 or 8 year olds usually, Caucasian that know so much. You know, what I mean? I'm like, yo, how you know about credit? What do you like? You should even know.
The parents like, don't mess up like us as they're crying, looking at bills.
Exactly, like, bro, take your time.
Stocks and bonds. You're like, what?
But that goes back to how you were saying just your intention to have a holistic approach, and that's God. God is a holistic approach because it's all your beings and everything put together. Because when you look at it, just at your parents, like, oh, if I do this wrong, I'm gonna upset my parents. You're doing it for somebody else, another human being. That really alters your intention. That hurts you when you get older because you try to please everybody. I'm sure you guys have figured that out. You cannot, because if you do, everybody will be happy except for you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You guys will see that. And then just coming back to how we're talking about how to grow children here, especially black children. In the beginning, you have to be a lot more realistic to them than even Arab. It's like, hey, look, you are black.
Yeah.
You gotta understand. Yeah, we're from Egypt. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we're not the Kush.
They don't see
we're not
us.
the Kush Empire like we were back in the day, or kings and queens. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different right here in America. There is such thing as systematic racism, and they're trying to put you down on purpose. So.
Yeah.
And is it like, okay, so I had this conversation with someone a little while ago, and it's like, we all being black people, we know the significance of the N-word from an early age. Like, we know you're not supposed to say that, right?
Yeah.
But then little Timmy, I don't know why Timmy is like my favorite little white boy name, but like,
I think it's for all of us. Like,
Timmy
comes up first.
Yeah, Timmy's like the first thing I think of. But like, they don't have that same experience.
Yes.
To them, they even if they see somebody saying it, like with us, you hear the word at a young age, and you're just like, that's wrong, that's bad, that's a bad word. You automatically know. But to them, somebody could be saying it, and it's like a slur, but they're not able to grasp it, just like kids aren't able to grasp curse words. When they say something, when you like curse in front of a child, they're gonna pick up on it, not because it's, like we have a more, like we're hypersensitive and hyper aware to the N-word. So do you think maybe then that like, because it's not their experience? No, I'm not. I personally believe like you should just, every parent obviously should teach their child that's a bad word. Like all these racial slurs,
absolutely.
But
you have to realize some of these households are probably saying it.
That's what I'm saying.
So like to them, they're like, kids are hearing it.
But understand this as well. If you come from a race of people that were called another section of people the N-word for 400, 500, 600 years, it ain't gonna just stop. Like, it's in your DNA.
But then don't get shocked when you get slapped. Like, did you see that the rapper who was like rapping, and then he said, he was this white guy, and he was like, yeah, I can say it. And then he said it. Some guy just right here,
like, right then and there,
like quick. It wasn't even like there was no hesitation.
And he actually had a flow in the beginning. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh no. It's like, no. I was like, what's happening here?
But we're more aware, and like raising kids in this country, you're taught these things. It's like you're taught from an early age, you're not supposed to tolerate this. You're taught from an early age, and like we're part of the 9/11 era, where it was even worse, because you're like, not only are you the N-word, you're a raghead,
Wow.
So it's like, it's hard. That's why I personally, I don't feel like I'm gonna raise my kids here. I feel like I'm gonna be here, until they're maybe like 3, and then bounce, and I'm going back to the Middle East, or like even Africa, because I feel like when I lived in Kenya, that was the best time of my life, because I wasn't the minority. You know what I'm saying? It's the closest land I could get to that was my land, and it was being back here. I'm like, I don't get that same feeling unless I like go to Baltimore. Like,
you always feel like you're searching to be in a place where you're comfortable. Here.
Where it's like, because here you're constantly reminded this is not your country. As much as you're born here, I've had people tell me, go back to where you came from. In other states in America, and I'm like, I'm from Fairfax. I'm from Northern Virginia.
One of the richest counties in this country.
I literally, but they don't care. They're from like Bumble, Minnesota. They don't care about those kind of things. But it's like they'll say that to you, and it's just a constant reminder this ain't your country. So to me, I'm like, why would I want to do that?
But it's hard, but you can say that because you've also lived in other countries. Like, exactly. I think I've lived in Pakistan for like 8 months of my life, maybe. And so other than here, like, this is home. So to me, it's like, go back to where you came from. Even if you could be like, all right, bye. I got a couple places I can go back to. But I'm like, this is where I know.
Like, a mass exodus should kind of happen. I feel like we should all move towards going back to Africa and building there, because this is the thing. If the one thing you're holding over me is this ain't your country, cool. Your law says you can't take my passport away. I was born here. So let me just bounce, go take up residence somewhere else. Uncle Sam, You're not getting my taxes because I work and I live somewhere else. But cool, no problem. I'll
You
go
guys
and
know
I'll build it up.
Asians are in Africa and they're so
Oh, yeah.
quiet
The
about it,
Chinese
I know,
but
but
they
they're
are
building.
building.
So what's happening right now, and what happened in America when people first came over here, is that it's a land grab.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And right now there's a land grab going on in Africa. Asians found this out early.
Yeah.
But so people know, like, this isn't something recent. Like
No.
the Asian,
Asians and Indians especially.
yeah, but
Indian
they've
people.
been in these African countries for centuries. It's just
Yeah.
because there's been a lot of trade between like West Africa and China, and a lot of people don't think that that's happened.
No,
No, it's
Kenya. So
happening.
I lived in Kenya at the time the Chinese came. They weren't there. It
Really?
was the Indians that were there. And they had come and they'd stayed for so many generations that they became Kenyan.
So when I say Asians, I mean Asia as a whole.
Like
So
India.
that's
okay.
Indian included.
Yeah, so I always differentiate because they came there for different reasons.
Okay,
So the
okay.
Indians came to like, and when I say Indians, I mean actual Indians.
Yeah, India.
Because I know like Indians in
We-
America
we
is
say-
different. I don't know how people
We're
pick it
Native,
up.
it's Native American now.
Native American, yeah.
We established that in
Yeah, but
'96.
But we also have like, the Washington Redskins. So it's kind of like some
Leave
people
my
kind
team
of take
alone.
it.
We're still fighting that, like I
Yeah.
still find that highly offensive. My mom
It
wouldn't
is.
let me wear Redskin stuff.
Yeah, I think it's, what's it called? But the
No,
Indians.
it's the luck that we have now. Like our team sucks. I think that we genuinely do have to change the name
Nobody's
if we want to
talking about
start
football
winning.
here.
He's talking about slow. he's
Please,
talking about
nobody's
the-
talking about
You
football.
know, some of the Redskins and saying that.
But he's talking about
the-
the actual name, defensive
Yeah,
name.
but like
Yeah.
the gear, Redskins. Where else would you buy like something that said Redskins that didn't have to do with the team?
Oh
Indian
no,
the
so
Kansas City Chiefs. Isn't that another one that was messed up too?
Just calling somebody Redskin, I
like
guess.
it's calling somebody Redskin. No, Redskin is like calling somebody the N word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought you meant gear because I was just like, I think the bad luck. Like I think the Redskins should change their name too.
Nobody's talking about football. Shh.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
No, I was
Nobody's
saying
talking
I had
about
I
that.
had like a bandana when I was a kid.
And it just literally just said Redskin with
no,
tie.
no, it just had like the logo on there. And my mom was like, "You're not wearing that.
Yeah, because it's
offensive.
offensive.
It's offensive."
With
Like,
the logo to the team, right?
look at the.
Yeah, that's more important.
Yeah, but you're talking about their bad luck, and we're talking
Yes,
about
I'm
the
saying-
offensiveness of the logo.
It's
trying to win a
because
She's saying it's bad luck because it's offensive.
so offensive the name
Yeah,
that
like
I
the-
genuinely think the spirits or whatever. I don't even know.
Yo. She said the gins. It's the gins. It's
Jim's
the-
in the Redskins name.
It was just like change the name
Yeah.
and make it more like something that's politically correct.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
no,
know.
going back, like the Indians in Kenya had been there for years, right? And like they all got kicked out of Uganda, but the Chinese only came in 2010.
Really?
Wow,
Because I was there, they started building the super highways, like highways with like overpasses and all that stuff. Before that, there was Chinese residents, like they were there. We had Chinese restaurants, but not in the way that it is now, where
But
it's like
that's
a
what-
huge land grab now.
So you notice how
Way
you take
too,
over, right?
Probably.
So there's a book by Dr. something Anderson. I think it's Craig Anderson. I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
I just bought the book, and it's called Powernomics. So the power of economics, and basically there's a way that as a nation or as a group of people living in a nation, you build up so that you have power. It's mainly for Black people here in America. But if you look at how Chinese are doing in Africa, that's what they're doing. They go there and spans, groups, whatever, one family, two family,
Under the
three
radar.
family, yeah, and then they start getting businesses. And then when they get businesses, then they start taking up political matters because now they're building a highway because guess what? Now they have political power within the country.
Yeah, we got really upset though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I say we because I was a Kenyan at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like, they built an overpass with like a pothole in it, and I was like, this is not how you build highways.
This is not Virginia.
Go home. This is not how we do this.
But not only like you used to talk about the highways, they come and they give you a roadmap like, hey, this is what we can turn your country into to compete
Oh,
with
yeah,
everybody.
they had
And
signs
then
everywhere.
They put you in debt. When they put you in debt, now they own you because you got to pay them back. That's
It's
how
control.
And that's how
It's
they
control.
seep into
and that's
power.
how we are in the U.S. Like
Yeah,
right now,
yeah.
we're in trillions of dollars of debt to the Chinese.
But
So that's
imagine
why there's
all the
always trade
capital we
wars and
could.
everything and
Imagine all the
everything.
capital that we possess as just Black people in America.
yeah.
Just with like at a basic level, because
I'm
us
with you.
being women, right?
Yeah.
All-inclusive foundation lines for women sold out
Yeah, the
like this.
foundation, yeah.
Why? Because our money means something. We
know.
want what's meant for us.
Yeah.
So imagine we take all that money and we go back to Africa.
No, it'd be Dunzo here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Done.
Like
They need us.
Fast
Yeah,
food.
they
But
need
that's
us.
a big reason why they make it so hard for us to get passports and licenses and things like that because they know again it's a modern day
They don't want
slavery
you to
where
leave.
they don't want you to have mobility.
Yeah.
If you realize they don't really promote travel
Yeah.
to people here.
Just work.
Like
That's why it makes me so happy when I see like these travel pages on Instagram, like Black
Travel
travel
noir.
pages, travel
People-
noir. I'm just like, wow, like I want to see this.
Because so many people you meet, they're just like, we have it differently because I guess our family's overseas. So like we
Yeah.
had to keep going back and forth. Like our parents came from another country. But like a lot of my friends here that are just like, yo, I got older and I just was like, what does a passport do? Like, they don't teach you the importance of having a passport, because we go because we have connections, but you can go without connections.
But think about
Get a hotel, get something.
And now your kids won't have barriers, because we had a brother here. His name was Adil. He came on a podcast. He had a book called Breaking Borders, and he talked about why black men don't travel. For many of those reasons, they don't have a point of contact somewhere. So growing up, now your kids can be like, hey, I can travel anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? And hey, actually, my parents do speak out about injustices and about the cause of black people in America. Because, you know, when my family came here, all they were worried about was Egyptians, and that's it. They weren't worried about any other black or whatever. They weren't worried about that.
Somalis,
they didn't even consider themselves black when they came. When we met, he was like, no, I'm Egyptian. I was like, no.
I used to live in Dubai, I used to fight people. They'd be like, I'm not African, I'm Egyptian. I'm like, where the heck is Egypt? Like, where is Egypt?
Yeah.
You know?
Or, you know, people, we think we talked about it last time. People would be like, hey, you're not black, you're Muslim. I'm just like, huh?
Yes.
Like,
No, but this is, and that's the issue I have with Jewish people. It's like, yo, Jew, and then where's your nationality?
Yeah, where
Because
you from?
you know what I'm saying? Like, what's your nationality?
You can't just say, oh, I'm Jewish. Like,
Yeah, like, okay, Bobby. Like,
You know, though, I think that's different. The reason why
but is there a difference between
because-
Jewish and Hebrew, though?
No, Hebrew's the language.
Yeah.
Oh, but the Hebrew people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, the way that I see Jewish people is that, and I mean, I could be wrong, the way I understand it to be is after Hitler and the Holocaust, nobody had any recollection of where they came from. The borders were all changed, kind of thing. So the only identity they did have was, I'm Jewish.
At that time.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you had the Jews from Ukraine, you had the Jews from Poland, you had the Jews from here, Jews from there, but the lines all changed. So they could have been from Poland, but now it's somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So that was their identity.
And that was the pain that united them. You know, they all had that same pain,
You
that they
know?
were Jewish.
Just like how we call it, we were all black.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not Virginian. I'm
no,
black.
honestly, we were African booty scratchers. Growing up in Northern Virginia, I was called an African booty
Let that
scratcher
go as
well.
until middle school.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I was like, oh, Wakanda forever. Everyone wants their dashikis.
Yeah, no,
All right, cool.
But you know, there was one thing you guys that you said, Faiza, where you were saying how with the hijab there's a certain respect, right? And in the 90s and like the 80s, like Muslim women, you know, remember fight the power, like that age, right? If you ever saw a woman that was Muslim, it was automatically a respect. Like you didn't talk to her a certain way. Oh, hey, how you doing, sister? You give her salams. And now it's like we've come into this weird time where we don't really know how to treat. We don't know how to approach women.
No, I think it's gone.
You think that's
it's not even we know how to approach women. I think it's completely gone.
Why?
Like, I think sometimes when you move or you migrate to other places, you pick up on sometimes the worst habits of them. And I grew up knowing like the way that my uncles, my brother, my dad, the men in my life respected Muslim women, and the way that the boys do it, like and I'm saying men, boys, like not Somali. I always come for Somali boys. They just piss me off.
like we said earlier, we're literally our biggest haters. Like,
yeah, they're our biggest haters. Like, they want us to die. But also, like, it's like Muslim boys, because I'm not going to give them the title of men, there's no respect. Like, regardless, before I would see women, all types of Muslim women, hijab, no hijab, related to you, not related to you, come at a Muslim man, and it's just like, what's the English word for ihtiram?
Just manners.
Respect?
Manners, yeah,
respect.
yeah. Like there was
moral
manners with it. Like
Yeah.
you could punch me, you could slap me, you could kick me, you could disrespect me. I'm as a Muslim man, I'm not going to disrespect a Muslim woman.
Yeah.
If I showed you the DMs that I've gotten on Instagram and Twitter from Muslim men who call me every name in the book.
Wow.
I'm
crazy.
sorry, I don't come from that. That's not the way I was raised. That's not the examples that I saw.
Yeah.
So
But then now, how would you tell them? Like, basically, like, now saying, how would you tell a guy to approach a Muslim woman respectfully, or like, right?
What would
Let
the
me tell you
Prophet
something
do?
respectfully. It's not even what would the Prophet do. How would you want your mother to be like approached? How would you want your sister to be approached?
And that's what the Prophet
And it's
referenced at that time.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
It's
talking-
And then
kinda
you're
like,
gonna think, no, I don't want it, because I've seen guys who are just like, no girl's good enough, like no guy's good enough for my sister, or like no, I can't, like they're like, I know guys, I know how guys think, you know.
But that's because they're looking at themselves, though.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah, for the
saying?
most
They're looking
part,
at they're looking at how they still would treat women. You know what I mean?
But even if they can treat a woman so well and so nice, they see other men how they treat women. Like, if you look online, you just see the crazy things that guys say to girls. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I've been approached from the left. Like, I'm always like, whoa, like that was kind of intense, a little bit too
Yeah.
much, you know. Like, it's just where now there has to be like someone's learning this from somewhere. Like, how do we move forward, right? And like, how should you as like a girl, like for me, like, you know, I'm single, so like I would like a guy to approach me if they were going to do it. Just you can like say, hey, how are you? Like there's not the whole awkwardness of like, you know, we're still two people. It's just like Muslim girl can't look, only can talk in DMs. Like, you know, like it's just like if you see me somewhere, you can just be like, hey, what's up? And it can be just respectful. Let's start off as friends, you know. If anything like wants to like be more after that, then you can go from there. But it's like you said, and weren't you guys once telling us like don't walk the car, right?
Yeah,
like,
don't go in the car. It's the devil's hot
and then
box.
like daytime dates and things like that. As long as you do stuff in like the respectful realm. But like I get kind of stuck in that because there's only so much you can do. So like you watched a movie, you ate dinner, you went to a museum, like okay, and you still want to hang out with the person, but like where can you go?
So you guys start taking them steps then.
Then where's the steps? Because someone could have an apartment, but it's just like, oh, why don't we just come back and watch a movie? But you're like, danger, like you know.
Can my mom and dad come?
But then you know, like at the end of the day, though, what you can only do so much, and it's just like, oh, like I just want to hang out and watch TV. Like, why does it always have to be this like, ooh, something's happening?
You want to do it at my parents' house? Like,
my parents would say hell no, but somehow get married. But you can never bring a guy here. Like I live at home with my parents. They would never let me bring a guy home unless it was my fiance.
No, I mean, it's interesting because I don't know if that's like a patience game or just a waiting game, because there's time that people hit us up that, you know, they're trying to do it the halal way and approach somebody. Yeah. But then it's always like there's something in the way. You know, it might be parents, it might just be themselves, it may be school, it may be work, it may be a whole bunch of different things, you know. But then I also have friends that don't have social media, like cousins and stuff. They're like, hey, I'm ready to get married now. Who else is ready? Yeah, just put your hands up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
send out the bird call.
So, but then you get to the point where, like, you know, as a man or woman, you're at that point in life. It's like, dude, I got to get married right now before something happens. Yeah. You know what I mean? And not in regards to
just some wild
it's
stuff.
I'm trying my best to, you know, do this the right way. But we're human beings. Like, you're doing something that's unnatural. So it's like, is it different for women? Like, would you wait for a guy to get his things together? You know what I mean? And wait from on the other side, like, hey, you know, I'm ready, but I see that you're not, but we're vibing. Let's work through your things. Or is it more like, because guys, I feel like guys, we will wait it out. You know, if you have a woman that's worth it, and then they have something.
But like, what are they getting
on.
together? Like saving money for like a wedding, or like saving money for a life, or going to school? Like, what's like holding them back? I think that's what it would depend on. If they're like waiting because they're not ready yet because they still want to live in like singledom or like whatever, then that's different.
I think for a lot of guys, and you know, back me up, please.
I
think for a lot of guys, it comes down to money, because we live in a society where everything depends on money, right? Like
the first thing is money. Once money gets out the way, then you're like, okay.
Yeah. So for the most part, and for nothing, like you guys can probably attest to this. Like we all thought we would be somewhere else when we were a certain age. Yeah. So as a guy,
I was supposed to have like a second child by now.
Yeah. right. And I was supposed to have a Ferrari by now. Right. So you know, you have this idea of like, okay, I need to have this, and this like in line while I'm talking to this person, but then you don't have those things together. So how do you like justify, oh, it's time, I should get married now, like, but I want to have all this stuff straight?
I believe in dating for a long time, so like I don't know, to me I'm like, I don't see the rush, because I feel like when people rush sometimes they're like skipping a lot because they're like running to an end goal. So it's just like, oh, I just want to go because then guess what, we're gonna like sleep together, or like, you know, we're gonna get something at the end of this, and they're like, let's just 3 months we're out, like let's get engaged, get married. I'd rather just wait it out, because like inshallah we have the whole rest of our lives, like so there's no point of like being like, oh, okay, in 6 months let's get married. You'll know in your heart, like when you're ready, when finances are ready, when you know you're like, I exhausted everything in the dating stage that I could do, and right now this is what we both want to do at the same time, and we're ready. Let's make that step.
But are women willing? Are women willing to put up with that whole like, hey, like I'm
Why
ready?
Are you laughing?
Because her face was like, oh
I wasn't even
no.
Who wants to be in a relationship for 9 years, 6 months, 12
see,
days?
you want to be extreme.
So where are you coming from then?
I like the way I see it, right?
Yeah.
I don't going into, and as the only married person here,
yes,
you getting married or you making a relationship from haram to halal, you're always gonna take a gamble. No, regardless of the situation, right? So you could be dating for like forever and stack your bread up, blah, 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 and it could end within a year, or you could get married right then and there and it lasts for forever. So everything is a gamble. I don't think it matters so much how much time you spent with the person. I think as long as your intentions are clear, then I think that's all you need to do, because regardless of the fact, what's going to happen to you is already written for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not going to change.
So
you know?
what, you date them for 2 weeks, now you're ready to get married? Like,
no, I'm not saying that, but I'm one of those people that like, my husband and I started dating, we decided like, okay, we're gonna see in 6 months if we still feel this way, we're gonna get engaged, and then we'll take some time out, and then we'll get married. The whole span of it was about 1.5 years, 2 years.
Okay.
But regardless, we stepped into it knowing we're both adults.
With the intent.
We care about each other. We want to build a life together. So let's not beat around the bush and be like, I want to take you out to dinner. What's your favorite movie? Blah 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 blah. To me, I would rather like not
That's
not
not
that,
what you're doing.
no, no. But I'm saying like I would rather do that on the back end. You know what I'm saying? And figure out what's your character. What do you like with your family? What are you this? What are you that?
But you can do that and still like take your time. I don't get what.
No, I think you're saying do that stuff up front because that's the important stuff. Get the
that's
important stuff out the way first.
I'm not gonna say.
But you have to hit that first. Why are you gonna waste time with somebody if you're like 9 months in? They're just like,
oh,
I never want to get married.
No,
A lot of people don't do that. Yeah. I literally knew when I started dating my husband, yo, you could be a potential partner for me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are just like, let's figure it out. We're talking. Sorry, that whole talking thing to me is just like, you're talking to somebody, but you're doing it with the intention of not even, you don't know if you're gonna even get serious with the person. You're just talking.
You're wasting time.
Let me see where this goes.
But for somebody that you know from afar, or somebody that you know what's called,
I knew you a little shady.
No. I've always felt this way. I've always felt this way.
No, because you said some of this when we were on your podcast. Like y'all said the same point.
I had the same point. It's just my thing is that why beat around the bush? Like I'm one of those people that like even if it's you have your nikah, whatever, and you're waiting to stack your bread up and he's at his mom's house and you're at your mom's house, or whatever the case may be. I'd rather that simply because you knew your intent with what you're doing with this relationship.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Like what you said right there, nobody's willing to do that. That's hard work.
And that's, to me, the part where I'm just like, yo, if you're going to do it with your chest. Don't sit up in here and fake the funk and be like, oh, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to chill. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I got to go. As Lou likes to say. As much as Lou likes to say.
Because women want to feel secure all around. So when you see somebody that's like, okay, we just got in the car, but he still at his mom's house. He still haven't got things figured out. Don't you guys feel kind of
No, and
worried?
That's ideally.
Teacher, pick me. We actually were fighting about this last night, so this is literally what you guys. Oh
my God!
The juice.
No, because
I wasn't even going there, but
you were.
No,
that's what guys think. It's more like because the father's like, all right, we got the nikah. Like, where's the papers for the apartment? You know what I'm saying? Like now I'm about to stay at home. Now she's about to come live with me.
But I had a cousin who got married, and him and his wife didn't move in together until 1.5 years later.
Wow.
He was at his mom's house in Canada. I mean, granted, he was in Canada, she was here. But she would go to him. They still had a huge wedding, had a nikah and everything. But it's just kind of like they knew that's who they wanted to be with, you know? And I look at that and I'm just like, so
that's great.
Let's be humble. Why we all gotta fake the funk? Like, why do we care about what other people think? You know what? Did you go into this wanting to be with that person, or did you go into this to have a wedding and move into an apartment with a guy so everybody can see it on Instagram?
Exactly. I moved out of my mom's house.
Yeah, like that's and mind you, they were down for each other for like 5 years before that. What are we doing here? Why are we? It's not a shame. And they were still like a decent age. They had to just figure out like who's gonna move where. You're talking about a 21-year-old. I look at you. I'm never gonna judge somebody like that. I'm gonna look at you and be like, yo, you're young. I get it, but you're trying to do the right thing, and I see that and I respect that. But let's talk about how Lul sit here and I want y'all to hear what Lul got to talk about.
I want to comment that because I feel like a lot of times we have this idea of what marriage should look like. Oh, we get married, we have the wedding, and then we move in together and we live together happily ever after. But it works differently for everybody. And that approach, right, where two people live in different places, because now we have the internet. Exactly. I can meet somebody that lives in China right now, but like we just connect, and it's like, yo, like I know you're it. Yeah. So why am I going to waste the time? Yeah. We might as well just colossal.
Exactly. you might, because it's a gamble either way. You could know them for 10 years and you get married, and 1 year later you're divorced.
Yeah, because things change with that.
You could be with them for 1 year and you're married for forever. Yeah. It's always going to be a gamble. So it's who you're taking your bet on at that point. Simple. But let Lul, I'm just telling y'all right now, this is just some mess. You know what I'm saying? There's a word for it, but I ain't trying to cuss. But you know, it rhymes with luckery.
Some luckery.
Yeah, it rhymes with luckery, but like, go ahead.
Buffoonery.
A lot of luckery going on.
All I said was, if I liked somebody and we like decided that we wanted to get married and that's our mission, I feel like there's two approaches or two sides of like why I want to go down this road. But I think that it's a lot on a person when it's just like, hi, I really like you, let's get, not hi, but like, I really like you, let's get married, boom, boom, boom. All right, now we have a year to get an apartment, buy furniture, plan a wedding, pay for a wedding, pay for a honeymoon. That's too much on a guy. And that's way too much on a guy. Like,
and a girl, stress.
And a girl, it's stressful, it's too much. But you know, guys always feel more of the financial burden, right? Because they have the dowry, meher money, like all this extra stuff. So to me, I'm always like, what? These people already look at me crazy.
No, because she has a crazy timeline. Her timeline's crazy.
So to me,
I'll let her finish.
Once I started to, like, I know my partner, like, really well, and this is a decision we both feel like we want to do and get married. Like, I'm not opposed to having a nikah, right?
Chill,
like, just a small nikah with just my parents and, like, his parents, whatever. And then we're going to wait for a year to have the wedding. We can then, at that point, after we have our nikah, let's just get an apartment. We move in together. We can buy our furniture or whatever, and then now start to plan our lives. And then in that moment, we're testing and we're really seeing who each other are.
No.
Because I can get to the point of like 9 months. And he doesn't like the way I sleep. I can't stand his snoring. Like, there's these issues that we
so
never...
petty.
No, but we just have never had to deal with because we never entered that part of our relationship yet, hopefully, at that time, you know?
Did you get it, Jabril?
Yes.
Basically, she's saying like she wants to cohabitate, but in order to do that and do it the right way, to have a nikah first, cohabitate, and then really make it like, you know,
see how it is.
See how it is.
Look, from my experience.
I love this podcast.
Because she twisted my words, first of all.
Not. Okay, what
Two,
was it? It's not.
All right, so explain like.
No, I literally was
just
just saying, like, I want us to, like, if we make the decision to get married, we're like splitting up the cost of everything, right? Like, I don't want us at one time to be paying for rent, apartment, furniture, wedding, mehed, honeymoon, like all this stuff at one time. That's too much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we're gonna break everything up into sections. So we're gonna focus on our apartment first, get our house situated, wherever we're
why don't y'all just get married though?
We already did that. Step one, you had the nikah.
Oh, so okay, cool.
So step one's nikah. So it's like, I wouldn't do this without the Islamic blessing of it all. You know?
Okay, cool.
Like, boom. So at that point, we're planning for our wedding, and that we can have in, like, let's say a year's time.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, we're really getting to know each other too. Like, as a married couple, how we would be as a married couple.
Okay,
maybe there's things that
fair.
we're like, maybe there's just bigger arguments that just can easily be hidden when you only hang out for 5 hours a day.
And you won't know unless you
know,
live with
like
somebody.
now we're sitting here, maybe we had a snowstorm and we're stuck for 2 weeks in the house together, and I'm just like, I actually don't like him, you know?
Exactly.
Like, things you just don't know. Hopefully that would never happen it's supposed to not happen, you know? But it's just, you're really getting to know each other really well, and you know the true dynamics, and then when it is time to have that wedding, like, you guys truly know, this is who I really want to be with, because I've seen it all.
But the thing is, though, you're already married, so at that point, like, you should I don't think you should get married if you feel like there's certain things with that person that you would just be a deal breaker, and you can figure those things out pretty quickly, in my opinion.
There's certain things you can't figure out though until you feel like you live
You're
with
right,
them.
right? Like, yo, I snore, shorty.
But
I snore.
But
right?
you figure,
but she's not going to figure that out until we're sleeping in the same bed.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. And how are you going to get to that?
But at the same time, it's like, yo, if you're going to leave me because I snore, then you have some issues. That's like, yo, that's crazy.
But let's just say you snore. She hasn't now slept for obviously this is worst case scenario. I just like to be 110. And like I said, I haven't met the guy yet. I might meet somebody and be like, I'm marrying you tomorrow on the top of the rooftops. We're gonna go broke in this. Like, I don't care, you know.
Just say what you gotta say. Like,
I'm gonna let Will finish her point, and then I'm gonna let the chopper ring. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No,
because I don't know what. Hold on, I don't mean to interrupt, but because you giving all the facial.
You know
I don't know what.
You know what it is, right? Like, the way that I take it, and the way that she's basically saying, like, we decided we want to settle down together, right? Yeah. But then I'm gonna have a nikah, then we're gonna go habitate and like save up for this wedding.
Invested at that point.
If we start living together and I notice things that don't work or whatever, before I waste my time on a wedding, like a reception, I can end it right then and there. And it was a nikah, right? Yeah.
No, it was still a wedding. You're still getting divorced. But at that point, it's not public knowledge to the whole entire world. You could deal with it in your own.
Watch this, right? When you go and have your nikah, there's a witness for a reason.
So it's public.
So my whole thing about it is that I take an Islamic marriage very seriously. Yeah. Don't sit here and say, oh, I'm gonna have a nikah, live with the person, and then potentially if it goes south, this could end. Whether you have a party or not, that's completely up to you. But you had your nikah, you're a married woman. You still have to get divorced regardless of whether you have a party or not.
No one's denying that.
No, I'm not saying you're denying that. But what I'm saying is, to me, it lessens the value of an Islamic marriage, because then it's like, I'm doing this as a trial period. And then if it doesn't work out, it's not public. No, it's public the minute there's a witness and you sign those papers. To me, it just doesn't make sense for you to use that as a way or a means to cohabitate and then say, I'm gonna try this out. It's not a trial period, because I go into my nikah saying I'm getting married and this is the end all be all.
Yeah.
So it's two different ways of approaching it, but
She has a good point.
And I don't mean
I just like to go into life and like I said, I am not like married. So at this point I can meet somebody that can literally and that's always what happens, right? You'll meet somebody that things that you said you always wanted to do, it will change your perspective on that. I'm just somebody that I just get scared because I see so many things that I just don't like in marriages, that I just see personally. So to me, I'm just it's scary. But obviously if I really like somebody, that's the next step. I want to complete half my deen, all that, it's really important to me. So I'm just how can I try and do this without it's like wearing a helmet and knee pads.
But what I want to ask is, it's almost like what you guys are saying the same thing, but I think the time is just it's different, right? You're basically saying get to know them enough first that when you get the nikah, you're like, okay, this is it, kalas.
And yours also keep in the back of your head, whether I do this or not, this could end badly, but that's a risk I'm willing to take.
That's the gamble.
It's a gamble.
And that's what I'm saying. I need a knee pad.
That's what I'm saying.
And a helmet.
You're never going to get that knee pad.
You can, but the only way that you can do it is through somebody else's perspective. So instead of moving in with them, you have to ask all the people that he lives with right now. Talk to his mom, talk to his best friend.
But they're still going to give you a golden version.
That's why you got to find somebody that's not. But then at that point, like you said, that's when you be like, all right, I know this much. This is what's going on. With that, now I know where that step is. Now I got to just take that leap of faith and just put it in God's hand. But it's if you don't think that you can make that jump, or if it's just not them,
don't do it.
Then don't do it.
Because I think, to me, when everybody knows, when you say I want to have a nikah, when you get married, it's completing half your deen. It's something as deep as completing half your deen. To me, I can't fuck around with it. I can't mess around. There's nothing that I can sit here and I can't. To me, it's such a big thing because we all sin differently. You know what I'm saying? But something as deep as that, Allah said, it's half your deen. So you could be praying for the rest of your life, but you haven't completed half your deen. You know what I'm saying? Without getting married. Don't.
But no one's denying that you're not. No one's saying you're not married.
No,
but like I said, we're not gonna
we're never gonna agree on this one. We were actually having this argument last night, and it was actually really heated. And it was
I left because of it.
She was I told everybody afterwards. I was I think Lowell feels attacked, but
I honestly just couldn't keep my eyes open any longer.
You know what it is? It's also one of those things where it's a culture thing.
Yeah, it's a culture thing too.
We now live in a Western society where things are unconventional in terms of Islam.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it as certain things are becoming more and more normal that were not quote unquote normal or accepted in Islam.
Yeah.
So we're we're trying to live this happy medium of living in America, and we're seeing divorce rates go up higher. Even back then, it was you could have hated your husband. You're gonna sit there and shut up.
Yep.
But, to keep the family intact, to do this and but now it's we get this power, and I understand that divorce is a thing, but I still a nikah. That's not a joke. To me, it's not a joke. It's really not.
But it's not supposed to be. I don't think anyone's undermining the value
both
of it.
No, y'all both are agreeing on that part.
Yeah, we're agreeing on that. I just think the way.
This is why sometimes a third person's
Yeah. I think what the difference is, and agree or disagree.
Yeah.
You're basically saying, look, when you go into it, that's it, done. And you're saying when you go into it, you still have a bit of, if you have reserves, figure that out before you go out and you guys
financially I'm not saying
bind each other.
You're already taking the Islamic bond,
no matter what.
But
let me ask you this.
Financial
but let me
ask
ask
you
this.
Seconds. No. Can I put you on blast for 2 seconds?
Hold on.
No, what did you say? What did you say last night? You out here saying the what's it called? What did you say last night? You said you didn't want to tell people because in case something happened, you didn't want it to be public.
Yeah. No, I said I didn't want everyone to know about it.
That's where
other than
it doesn't make sense.
I mean, you can still have witness who can be just,
Yeah, I meant
your father,
the
uncle,
select few.
Select few that you
but
want
just
to know.
I don't want it everyone and their mother. Absolutely. It's all over Instagram and everyone's already seen.
Yeah.
Like I said, thoughts can change.
And that's why that's the Fire and Shade podcast.
Yeah.
That's why y'all got it. So y'all
that's
can go
why we
there.
Disagree.
Exactly.
So I had a question. I missed the window opportunity to ask it when we were on it, but I want to backtrack.
Yeah.
If a girl says her DMs are dry, is that truth or lie, or is it subjective to the person?
Married
50,
woman,
50.
what do you know about this?
50-50. No, excuse me. I wasn't married for forever. I've only been married for a year and a half. But I think there's two types of dry. There can be dry where nobody hits her up, or it could be everybody she doesn't want to hit her up is hitting her up.
She's not interested in
it. Doesn't mean that her DMs are really dry. Now, when somebody says it's dry out here, that's a different story. There's nobody out here that they're interested in, or they could find, you know, attractive, or to like see as somebody they would have a future with.
Apparently, there's a thing where some girls don't look like they like will accept DMs, so guys don't do it. Like I've seen pretty girls that literally are like, guys don't ever slid in my DM.
Yeah.
Versus, I literally have like the most randomest people that slide into my DMs. I'm just like, what? But
it all depends on like the audacity and the balls of like the guy, pretty much. Yeah. What you out here breaking? But no, it's just kind of like it varies. But I know I used to say that too. I'd be like, oh, Virginia's so dry. Like there's nobody out here. My DMs are dry. But it was more so like they weren't dry. It was just Joe Schmo that I was not trying to pay attention to was talking to me, and I was like giving you one word answers. You still hitting me up. It was never the guy that you wanted, or the person, or the type of guy that you wanted that was hitting you up. But not necessarily DMs are dry.
And sometimes when people say that on their story, if they're just like, my DMs are just dry, maybe they could just be a little trap to be like, have the guy they like slide in.
Yeah.
Just open up doors, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
No, because I recently experienced that, and I was like, you lying.
Yeah.
And no, that's not true.
Really?
Or her request could be popping, and she just is not answering those requests.
Oh, yeah, because you got to request that. Sure.
But, you know, one of the last guests we had, he said that, you know, there's a lack of Muslim brothers out here who are actually trying to go after Muslim women. And do y'all feel like that's the case? Or is it like there's not enough dudes that are really trying to approach the right way?
I think there's too many women. First of all,
Really?
way more women than guys, right?
Okay.
Or
So
way more women than guys that are on the right path. There's a lot of guys, but
okay.
there's a lot.
Okay.
Let's also like
Okay.
factor in the guys that just aren't checking
there's
for Muslim
way more
girls.
eligible
Like,
women than eligible men.
Okay.
However, I feel like, you know, and this is a constant issue that I have, where it's like a lot of us grew up in these societies where it's like, don't talk to boys.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I finish school, I'm at an eligible age, and you're like, talk to men. Okay, but for 20-something years, you were telling me, don't talk to boys. So how do you expect me to overcome that quickly?
Wow.
So it's like, it makes for awkward people. Like, it's like, you've been in how many situations where it's like a whole group of mixed people?
Yeah.
and guys
Are
don't
on one
say
side,
anything.
girls are on another.
Yeah.
How does that work? Why? Because they've been conditioned to be like, opposite sex, stay away. And then all of a sudden, you're supposed to be like this talkative, open to, you know, meeting and talking to guys.
Trying to get married.
Yeah, trying to get married when you've been trying to make me the patron, like, nun of life. That
Sal
doesn't,
said
it doesn't make
polygamy.
sense. Sounds like what?
She said polygamy.
What?
Works great.
Polygamy works great, apparently.
Multiple wives? I mean,
No.
Depends.
With the multiple wives thing?
That's what she
Yeah,
meant.
like
Oh,
I don't
that's
know. Like I don't. Like I said, I'm not like I don't know what my situation is gonna be like. Since I'm not currently in like a marriage, but like maybe if I'm like 50, I'm bored of him, I want to travel. You get multiple wives? Can I get multiple husbands? Does it work?
No,
out?
polyandry is not allowed in Islam.
No, sorry.
Like I said, I'm looking for
I
someone
feel
that's
like
gonna teach me
the
more.
I feel like the older generation has different ways of thinking about it, right? Like
Yeah.
they think about it as a legacy. They think about, oh, I had 4 girls, I need a son. You're not able to provide me a son. I want a son to carry my name because it's like a lot of people think I'm like super like misogynistic for saying that, but I understand a man's need for wanting to continue his name.
Yeah.
You lose that
Yeah.
with girls because the kids take the husband's name, not the wife's name.
Yeah.
So I get it, but am I gonna? No. My husband already knows. Like the only way out is in a body bag. There's no second
not
chick.
playing.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
thing as like, oh, you're gonna go. I don't care.
I don't
like,
think. I think I'd be jealous. Like if it was like I couldn't give them a boy, then they went to someone else. Then they're like, well, she'll give
There's
me
like,
a boy.
why are we acting like genetic engineering does not happen?
but
Like,
you know
I,
what?
it's okay.
I heard that's haram though.
I don't think so. I don't think in that case it should be haram.
But you know what? At the same point, though, that also has to come to the man to have enough respect for his daughters and just say, this is good enough. If this is what Allah
Exactly.
blessed me with, I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
Allah
Be
doesn't
like Kobe
mistakes.
and Girl Dad.
Yeah, and you had to be okay. Like, I feel like I would be completely okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
if I had 10 girls and I was like, well,
10.
I know, but I'm saying that's why I'm saying
I'm just
older.
using a crazy number.
That's why I
want
say
12
the older
actually.
generation, because to them they think about last name, they think about family trees,
They do.
Yeah.
which is in some way or another, your legacy is your family.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That's very true.
So,
But God doesn't make mistakes. Like if maybe you're not meant to have a son.
no, I'm not denying that. I'm saying for the older generation, I can understand and empathize on why they did it.
Yep.
Because a lot of them were like, oh, well, we all know why in Islam you're allowed 4 wives. Because the husbands would die in war and they needed a guardian to take care of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand
Exactly.
that. But I also understand like men that are like my father's age or my grandfather's age getting multiple wives because they wanted sons, because if they didn't have a son, their name would die off. Now we're at a point now where we're just like, who cares? Like, if your name dies off, it dies off. Like, there's nothing I could do for you at that point. But you have to be able to empathize and understand that sometimes it's not about being selfish. Sometimes it's not about certain things. That's just their mode of thinking. You can't help but respect it. You know?
Or maybe some girls just don't really care for a relationship and they just want a child. So maybe that, like, it could work for people like that. They're just like, oh, I don't mind having a guy that's there sometimes, but I'm not
can't
really
do that, though.
like.
Yeah, you can't do that. It's a marriage, so like.
No, like, or just like, let's say like he wants to have multiple wives, so she could just be like, I don't mind sharing him because I don't care to have him 24/7. I really just want children. So if he's just gonna be here and it's just gonna like be
provide,
come in and out,
Good point.
I can just have my child and just be me and my child because maybe I'm just not interested or like maybe I'm just like not attracted into like having a male like that. You know, some people just don't care to have a male in their lives, but they want children. So I feel like it would work really great in that community. I feel like I know people like that in my life.
I know a couple like that in my life.
That's a good point.
And I'm kind of smart. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, Jabril, I don't know if you had any other questions.
No, like, all right, I gotta lie. You see this list? So what is the main thing that you feel like women want from guys? You from a single perspective, and you were once single, right? Well, I don't know.
Once upon a time in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
The way Lil likes to say it. I don't know. I think like there are certain things in a patriarchal society that I feel like women benefit from, and I'll be the first to say it. I'm not gonna say I'm a feminist. I feel like I take aspects from both patriarchy and feminism, but I feel like a provider. I want not a provider in the sense that like you fund my entire life. I'm not a chick that wants to sit at home all day and ask you for money. That's never going to be me. I like having my own money. However, a provider, somebody who's consistent, you know what I'm saying? Somebody who is going to be my best friend, like a companion, a partner. Like those are the kind of things that you look for in a man. If you're, you know, good looking too, that's great. But like, honestly, let's be real. Let's pull that to the front. Like you got to be good looking because like, you're not going to be, you have to be attracted to the person, right? Exactly. And then just like somebody that you would want to spend that time with. Because like, I know like, people always told me before I got married, like the first year of your marriage, second year of your marriage, they're the hardest. And I never understood why, because I'm like, yo, this is like my best friend. We hang out together all the time, blah, blah. And then you move in with them and you realize homeboy leaves his socks under the couch cushions where you're never going to see them until you do a deep cleaning. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And you're just like, I hate you. Some days you're just like, it's like a mix of like, don't talk to me. I want you dead. But
this is what she like is like now doesn't understand when people are scared.
But it's what keeps me there is the loyalty. It's the friendship. It's the admiration. It's the fact that this is the person I chose to be a provider, a father, like a future father, and all these things, the characteristics. So I can ignore the fact that, you know, you may drink something and then leave it on the coffee table for 3 days and I walk past it, you walk past it, and I'm the one that picks it up. But it's just kind of like those things. That's why like the snoring things, petty things like that, that's not what it is. Are you going to be loyal? Are you going to come home every night? Are you going to, you know, make sure that like I'm good, that I come first? Because I've seen instances, no matter how mad I get at my husband, I know instances where he's put me before his own family. That's what I wanted in a partner. You know what I'm saying? I am the most important person to you. I know your mother's important. I know, you know, other people are important in your life. But when it comes down to it, you don't go home to them. You come home to me. You sleep in bed with me every night. So it's those kind of things that were what attracted me to my husband, but also the things that keep me around when we do argue. Because you have to also like now adapt your whole entire life. I'm an OCD clean freak. My husband is the biggest slob kebab. What can I do though? I love him enough. I know that all these amazing characteristics about him outweigh the fact that he leaves crap everywhere. So I'm going to stick around. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to, as much as I yell and scream and nag every day and it doesn't change. It's worth it, you know? So for me, that's ideally, and he's good to look at, you know? He's great to look at. I hope you find him ugly. Think he's ugly. I like that.
I wasn't
think he's ugly.
I wasn't saying that. I literally was like, are you just talking straight to him at this point?
I love my husband. I really do.
Shout out.
But I do.
Look at him in the camera.
Yeah, I literally was just like, okay, we're still here.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying that's what you should be looking for. And I think a lot of times, like you eat your own words. I never said I'd end up with a Somali guy. Everybody that knew me, I'd be like, if it happens, it happens, but I'm not banking on it.
Yeah.
Got you. But you weren't like saying it's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. But I was just like, the probability of like me being the type of person I am, outspoken, outgoing, like I'm not going to sit here and bite my tongue for anybody. I didn't think that was going to happen for me.
Yeah.
So when it did happen, it happened with what for me was the ideal person. You got what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like you got to like the halal to haram ratio, the certain things that are just like, I have a past, you have a past. Let's respect each other for our past and understand that we're just trying to grow and become better.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. All those things where you got to look at like how the person acts with their family. Like that's one of the things that attracted to me. Was attractive to me about my husband. His mom calls, drop everything and go. His sister calls, drop everything and go. His brother calls, drop everything and go. Now, he doesn't so much drop everything. He calls me first and double checks it's okay. And then he goes and does it. So it's kind of like those kind of things. The money, the this, the that. It's like, it's all like temporary. Everything in life is temporary, But like, that's ideally what you should be looking for as the married person here. But I'm gonna let y'all go.
Hey. We're learning from you. I got much.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, and that's why I'm asking you guys, because as women, from a guy's perspective, when we approach women, we not saying we're trying to tailor our lives and say like, oh, we want to be this way, that way she'll marry me, but we do want to have an idea of, okay, like you said, the money is not as big of a aspect as we would initially think. Be
comfortable. That's all you need.
A lot of guys are like, yo, like I gotta have this in line. My dad told me something that was like crazy. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to get married, like financially, He was like, yo, you pay your own rent, right? Like you make money. I was like, yeah. He was like, well, you can take care of a family. I was like, good point.
You're ready.
Yeah. He was like, you're ready, my son.
We live in Northern Virginia where it's very expensive. You know what I'm saying? It is gonna, unless you're making that 6 figures a year, you're gonna need help.
Exactly.
Where is your place at that point? If you're looking for somebody who is gonna let you sit on the couch and be a Vanessa Bryant, then maybe you need to start. No, but I'm saying, like he said in an interview, Kobe said in an interview, he would go and to practice and he would leave her in bed and then he'd come back and she'd still be in bed. If that's the type of situation, go after a baller. But know what you're looking for. I know I don't want to stay at home all day. I don't want to become that person. I want to have, if anything were to happen, I want to be a contributing member to my family because I know the circumstances of where we live. I understand that things happen.
I feel like the best thing though to do is like, I always use the example, like if I can be snowed in, stuck in, be like for months and I'm okay at coming out of it, everything else we can face. As long as you are a respectful person, your family should be important to you as should mine to you as well. Like I wanted to feel like you came into my family and I felt like you were there my whole life. Like I don't want, and I would want the same for you with your family. Like, I don't know, I just can't marry someone where our families are not getting along or like your mom doesn't like me or my mom doesn't like you. Like we are gonna have kids and the kids are gonna be left at someone's house. So like we gotta figure that out, I need you have to be my best friend. Like that's just like all the other stuff that people get so hung up on and stuck on. As much as I'm such a scaredy cat about like the whole like process and things like that, I feel like you just have to have that basis that like at the end of the day, like I know you got me and I got you. And it needs to be both. It can't just be like, I feel like a lot of girls sometimes are like, he needs to have me, he needs to have me, he needs to do this for me, he needs to do this for me. What are you doing for him? Because, and that's what everyone in the whole pick me debate we had and things like that, where it's like, oh, you shouldn't do things for guys until they're your husband and like all this stuff. I'm like, why not though? Like, I don't get it. Like guys are expected to like take you out all the time, do all these things for you before you're married. So why can't I just throw a bone here and there? And then if I throw a bone, I look thirsty or like, oh, what are you doing? That's not even your husband yet. Like what the hell? And I'm just like, it's a second.
I said, what I said was, there's levels to it. Now, if we're dating and you paid for 3 dates in a row, I can pick one where I'm gonna pay for it. What I'm saying is the girls that will be like, oh, that's my boyfriend, but then they'll go to the house and clean the house for them. I'll do your laundry for you. I'm so sorry, I'm not doing that. That's a pick me. That's what I said a pick me was because there are certain things where I'm doing that for my husband. I'm not doing it for no regular boyfriend, you know?
But like, there's a level. It shouldn't be like for like, there's certain guys where you're just like, you know, like I think I see something like that, like little things where I feel like I will like pull myself back a bit because I think of what other people would say if I do things like that. I'm like, how I show my love is like by actions.
Yeah, she's
Like, to me,
acts
I'm not
of service. That's what I looked it up last time. It's acts of service.
So I'm not one that's gonna sit here and write you poetry and like be all like all that, but I'll just do things, and it's just like you should know, and then that's how I just show you like I'm thinking about you. But then other people look at that like, no, just chill. He needs to court you. You're just single until you get a ring on your finger. You shouldn't just give all your time. Like, I'm not like that. Like, I'm just kind of like, I'm gonna put all of this in. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and wish you nothing but the best. But I'm not going to half-ass it because he should be doing all the work. And then at the end of it...
It's not half-assing. It's just keeping certain things for a husband versus giving everything to a boyfriend.
Yeah, but you're choosing who you're doing it for. So, like, I'm at that point, it's like I see a future here. And, like, I know that this is where it's going to end up. So I don't mind doing these little things.
Hold up.
I
have a question for you. Lou's the same person that sat here and said... I don't call everybody my boyfriend.
I don't. I think that's a heavy name. Okay. A heavy like title.
But can you apply that same logic to what you do for a man? I don't call every man my boyfriend, so I'm not going to do the most for every man or every boyfriend that I have because I don't know which one of these boyfriends are going to become my husband.
Yeah.
It's the same logic.
So
you're sitting here, you're saying that, I don't call every man my boyfriend. Every guy that I dated or talked to or whatever, I'm not going to call them my boyfriend. I reserve that for special people.
Yeah. And that's who I will do those actions for.
Am I speaking another language?
But this is what I'm saying. I've been saying it. If someone's my boyfriend, then you already know how to get to that stage.
No,
for me to use that name.
Boyfriend, just like you're not going to call every man your boyfriend.
She's saying that.
Don't do these things for every man. Save it for your husband.
But there's levels. The hell am I doing? Like, am I what? Cleaning their house every 3 days? Am I going there with
that do that?
But that's not me.
They walk in and they're like, Mary maids, we're here.
I don't think she's saying directly towards you. I think she's saying just in general.
In general,
like there's and what do you think? Because as a guy, like, would you want to have a girl that beforehand, like, she's showing you so much of what can come? Like, do you want that, or do you kind of want to figure some? Like, there's a little bit of an element of excitement of like, I don't know, like,
is she gonna clean after me?
Oh, if I leave the sock right here, is she gonna beat me, or is she gonna like?
If she's mean,
I think it's good to know. And then when you're talking to her, I think the best thing you do is just support them emotionally. I mean, that's what guys really look for at the end of the day. I mean, they're okay taking care of you, paying for stuff as long as you can, help their keep their head on right with their shoulders and not get too stressed out and stuff like that. That's really what guys care about, But at the same time, if you guys go out and you're above, it's just like, okay, is she doing that only to me? Has she done this for somebody else? So you can see that as a guy too. Oh, she might have done this for a few other people. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on your take, But
I think why I'm very reserved. If you two things, because I can see it that way too. That's like why I don't like the title stuff.
Yeah,
where anyone just talks to someone for 3 months, they're like, oh, this is my boyfriend. Like, I want to look back on my like history and like who I'm gonna name that. Like, they should have had some significance in my life.
Exactly.
Not just because we talked for 2 months, the time was ticking. You're not my boyfriend.
But they helped me get through something in my life.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, you know what? I learned.
Just like a friend would.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I learned something to become a better person in my next relationship. Like, I don't mind throwing that title to that, like, but then there's levels. You're not going to do certain things, but once you get closer and closer to the person that you're going to marry, like, I think that's when you start to do a little bit more things than you probably would have never did with someone else. Like, it could be paying for a couple dinners here and there. Then you meet somebody later and you're just like, I really like them. Maybe one day I'll cook food for them. Yeah. And it's like, I didn't do that for the last person because we weren't at that level, but I'm getting closer to you. And then when you get to another person, God forbid you have to go through all these people, but like, then when you get to the last person, it's just like, wow, I'm going to go out, like, here you go. Like, here's like a gift card, like someone buying you something. It's like, I didn't do this for the others, but it's like, I really care about you. And like,
or you could do for none and then do all for one.
Well, hey, it's two different perspectives.
Two different perspectives. You know what? Agreed.
Which is why we're on a podcast. Yeah. As much as people think Lul and I are the same, it's just like we're really not. In certain aspects, or a lot of aspects, we're not the same in how we think.
Yeah.
Well, at least people can listen to your show now and figure out what's actually in the minds of both Lul and
who's fire and who's shade.
Exactly.
Ooh, decide for yourselves, listeners.
Yeah.
Decide for yourselves.
Yeah. So, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
This was actually fun.
This was
not that I didn't think it was gonna be fun, but I was like, it's
a very free flowing conversation. It's very comfortable. Comfortable vibe you guys got here.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Welcome to my house. Mikasa, Sukasa, Belmead, Farm
So if y'all in the Northern Virginia area are just, looking for relationship advice or just other taboo topics that nobody else talks about, you can definitely reach out to the
Worldwide, not Northern Virginia.
That's what we started.
Internationally known.
what is it? Internationally
No.
something.
On the
It was
microphone?
no. It's there's a line for it. It's gonna bother me. It's an early 2000s line. Never mind. Forget it. I'm lost. It's I can hear it in my head. I hear DJ Clue in my head, so it has something to do with him. But whatever.
Oh man, now you got me thinking. No, we're not going to go there. But no, thanks. I think even coming into this, we were like, you guys have a different vibe. You guys have a different audience. You guys have a different podcast, and how we're going to make this work with the collaboration is different. We
But they've been working well so far.
Yeah.
So
the last one was fire. This one's been
Yeah.
fire. So
Yeah.
now we're excited to see where you guys go, and the fact that you
You guys
guys,
too.
you know, we started around the same time, and you guys have kept up that consistency, and even like you guys just lost a co-host, so that's like that's crazy.
That's
so
big.
you know, big props to you guys for being able to go through going on 2 years now of consistency, ups, downs. I know equipment failed. Like you guys understand what this takes.
Yeah.
So to
and
have
you guys have been
here-
at it. Like I feel like you guys don't even break. Like you guys
No,
always
we don't.
have material, and that's amazing. Like we
Yeah.
still, like as much as we've been consistent, we still break.
Yeah.
So I look at you guys, I'm like, wow. Like
Work
y'all
it.
be
Appreciate
traveling, going places. I'm sitting here like, we need to step our game up.
Yeah,
lot
it
of work.
really is. But we've
Yeah, so
been pretty
mashallah.
big fans of you guys, mashallah. We've
Thank you.
seen everything that you guys
Thank
have
you.
been doing,
Appreciate it.
and I mean, we definitely pick up on things, and we're just like, oh, you know, like that'd be a great topic from a girl's perspective and
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So we really do appreciate it. But I think also too, it's like, you know, we're the two groups out here, so we gotta like try to do it
Exactly.
big.
Now we're
100%.
two.
You know, it's
100%.
just
In twos,
two
right?
groups of twos. You know,
Yeah,
so big ups to you guys. We've seen the potential, we've
Appreciate
seen the
it.
growth, we've seen everything that's been going on. We've watched
Yeah.
your videos, and it's been a real inspiration for us for sure because we always look at it as, you know, we don't. It's healthy competition in the fact that we both want each other to get better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's
100%,
good to
100%.
have another group to bounce off of and look at and be like, okay, what can I do better? You know,
Yeah.
what are they doing that I can also do? Because it's a big old world out here. You know, there's more than enough space for all
And
of
we
us.
have different markets too, so it's
Yeah.
like bringing these markets together and like cross, like it's kind of dope.
And I think everybody can benefit from the conversation regardless of what you believe in, who
Yes,
you
who you
are,
are,
Yeah.
you
where
you
know,
come from.
you're whether you're a guy, girl, whatever the case may be. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's just
100%.
good to listen to Fox News. Sometimes it's great to listen to CNN. You never know.
I don't want to be Fox News. Just no,
But
definitely
yeah.
though.
So
Thank you.
thanks for having us, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe again in the future.
We're down for coming back. You know,
Hey,
if
we
ever
will.
you guys want to
If
say
we find
something.
flights nonstop though.
Oh my God. Yeah.
A Greyhound. You gotta take a Greyhound next time.
Exactly.
But how can people find you guys and listen to your podcast?
We're on Spotify,
Okay.
Apple Podcasts, Google Play.
Yeah, and you can follow us on Instagram at Fire and Shade
Same with
and
Twitter.
Twitter. And then my personal Instagram is Port of Somalia, PORTOFSOMALIA. But because I bounce back and forth between the podcast account and my
Yes.
personal
Yeah.
account, so I feel like
Yeah, sure.
you know, I
Might
feel
as well
like
get both.
get to know me too. Every podcast or like show or anything that I'm really interested in, I also invest time in the person behind it too, which is really interesting. Like, so you can follow me on at IG Port of Somalia. Same for Twitter.
Nice.
I'm _Lolita.
No,
I don't
it's
even
not. You
remember.
don't even remember your name. It's Luliana.
Liliana.
Honestly,
No,
if
I
you-
changed it.
Oh, you changed it back?
Yeah, you did,
Yes,
yeah.
Okay, so basically our names are on our podcast Instagram
Yeah,
page.
that's it. I'm like, I don't even remember how to spell it.
It's
Yeah. Fire,
and
F
Shade.
I
Fire
R
and Shade, yeah.
A N
Our
D.
personal
It's
Yeah, it's an AND Shade on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks for having us, guys.
And you guys,
This was
know,
fun.
you
Thanks.
guys know where to
Great.
find us. Listen on all your popular platforms. You know, Apple Play. That's Google Play. I'm sorry, Apple Podcasts.
That was
iTunes.
in my
always
head
get
too,
it
so
all
I
messed
paused.
up.
I was like,
Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Castbox. You can also watch us on YouTube. And if you want to reach us out on social, Jibril, how can they?
Well, if you want to
Get
reach us
hold
on
of us.
social and shoot those DMs, make sure you follow us at Young, the letter N, Muslim Young, YOUNG, the letter N, Muslim Young and Muslim, Instagram and Twitter. And make sure if you like this video, if you like these ladies, you go to their
Absolutely.
podcast.
Check 'em out.
You guys go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on the video and make sure you smash the subscribe button and leave us a comment. Mohammed.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe,
But don't block.
and share.
and
not block.
share with
She
your
always
friends.
looks at us, and when we don't say share, she goes,
Oh, and
Yeah.
you know what you guys do really well, and we're actually going to do this for all you guys listening at the end of the podcast. Make sure you guys go and leave us a review of this
Yes,
episode.
you guys do
because
a lot
Oh.
of
we
reviews.
would
That's
really
awesome.
appreciate it. Yeah, you guys paved the way for getting
Yes.
reviews.
That
You guys
was
be like, yo,
crazy.
give us some reviews.
Yes.
Leave us a 5-star review because we would greatly appreciate
you
it.
have
And-
to. Come on.
Yeah,
Yes.
Because we said so.
Yeah, exactly. And that lets
And
us
it's
know
2
how great
seconds
this
of your
is.
time. You know what I'm saying? What
It
else you got to
helps.
lose?
It also helps
you like
people.
us.
To
Yeah.
find it.
If you want them to keep coming out with the content, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, it takes 2 seconds of your time. You're already here. You're already listening. You might as well.
Don't threaten them.
No, threaten them more. Threaten them more.
You have to. Yeah, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.
Hey.
Word of mouth.
We're about to get them to start doing the
That's
outro.
what I'm saying. Hey, well, thank you, Lil. Thank you, Faiza.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Let's wrap this thing up.
All right. So for the last, what's that say, Mo?
Hour and 50.
So for the last hour and 52 minutes, you guys have listening to the Young and Muslim podcast. I'm Jabil Salam.
And Muhammad Hassan.
And this is
Fire and Shade.
And we greet you with the greens of peace.
Assalam.
Wa alaikum.
Peace out.
Peace.
Bye.